What is going on, everybody? Welcome to a rare edition of the Pre-Patch Podcast. We are man down. Mr. Scruffy is lying in bed, licking his paws, or I guess arm, for a COVID shot that he got. And he is preparing to be sick or not be sick. We don't know, but he is. We wish
About
him
a 90% chance sick.
we wish him a speedy recovery. With all of that, but we're still here. We've got myself, got Enigma, the man that powers through everything. We've got Mr. Bill, who's wearing a Hawaiian fucking shirt because he's on vacay.
I'm on vacation.
Yep. And come hell or high water, or rain or shine, no matter what, sickness and health, my salty ass is always here. Because look, with this much salt in your body, you just can't. There's not much that can put you down. So, yeah. So
bacteria does not thrive in that kind of an environment.
It does not, man. It does not. But it's episode 39, guys. We're getting just ever so each one closer and closer to that big old 5-0 mark. We gotta do something spectacular, man, for 5-0. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we gotta do something crazy. So.
Dick pics, dick reveal.
Dick reveal, yeah, sure. I don't really have a camera that can zoom in that far, man. But it's episode 39, and let me tell you something. There's a lot of shit to talk about. A fucking truckload of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, it's a big boy.
It's nuts. Not as much as far as like video content that like from gameplay wise, and I am looking purple. I am noticing on the camera. I am fucking purple. I don't know why, but
I'll hang out with Smurfette.
Yeah. But a lot of stuff to talk about. There's literally like 11 things to go through, not even including the games that we've played. Happy to be back, guys. Always, if you are in the chatting with us live, thank you guys for being here. We're monitoring chat across all the different channels. If you are not and you are listening to us on Spotify, thank you. You can always join us live. We go live every other Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern. But if you do need to leave the show at any point in time, you can't catch all of it. You can go and hit !podcast or exclamation mark podcast on all of our channels. That'll bring you to the different links that will get to our YouTube as well as our Spotify account. And I believe we're almost all the way up to date, if not up to date, on there. So. Let's dive into it, guys. Like I said, lots to talk about. So right off the bat, we always start with Twitch drama. This is really not drama per se. I think this is like a kudos on Twitch's part, at least for the first part of this. Indie Fox was permabanned. I think we've talked about.
Was it an actual permaban? Because last I heard that they just revoked her partnership.
Nope, permaban.
Gotcha.
It started with the revoking of partnership and permabander. Now, if that gets appealed and changed, I don't know. But last I heard, which was going back a couple days ago, it was still a permaban. So,
interesting.
Yeah,
very nice.
Yeah, it's again, rightfully so. I think this was one. This is a case where the creator, spit in the face. Not saying that it was just based on the last instance, but I think like. She's been banned 6 times. I think we counted up, right? It was like 6 or 7 times
in the past year.
Yeah,
and it's just a disregard for taking the ban seriously and a disregard for the albeit patchy banning and TOS work on Twitch's part. It seems like Twitch has actually pulled up the big boy pants, stopped whacking it, and started actually doing things appropriately.
Well, they're still whacking.
That was the biggest part that I had an issue with, was just every time her or Amaranth is banned, they make fun of it. Like, oh, going on vacation for a couple of days, Twitch gave me a voluntary, not voluntary vacation. I'll be back on Monday. Go and check out my OnlyFans though if you want that spicy content.
Yeah,
it's just one of those things where I'm like, they really need to start hitting them where it counts to start getting the message through a little bit more,
Yeah,
it's a little bit of a wake up call to things. I don't think anybody saw a permaban coming specifically from this, but
yeah,
what has been going on in the works behind the scenes in other cases with Twitch, they need to start being more transparent with their banning stuff. They need to be more consistent.
I don't think it's been going on in the background. I think they literally got told by one of their advertisers, "Hey, fucking shape your shit up, or we're not advertising with you anymore." And they were like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
I think
That's
I
the only thing
legitimately
that's
think
going to
that
move
was
the
the
needle.
conversation.
I mean, that's
I legitimately think that was the conversation. One of their big advertisers was like, literally, this bitch is on the fucking your streaming site shaking her ass in a fucking horse head.
Right. I mean,
what the fuck is going on right now? You either shape this shit up or we're pulling our fucking contract.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only way that you're going to get anybody in to listen over at Twitch is to fuck with the money. And that's it. You know, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
I mean, we've seen so many times where streamers have just literally given the finger to Twitch and berated them up and down. They don't care. I mean, they don't give a shit. It's just once you start screwing around with the money, then that's when they get pissed. So, but yeah, the next thing, obviously, too, Bill, I'm gonna let you discuss. You're more versed in this, but it's Phantom Lord versus Twitch. This was the second time they went to court, right? On this,
yeah, this is a it's a counter suit. So Phantom Lord won the initial Twitch lawsuit, got some money back from the wrongful banning, and is now countersuing Twitch again. And basically, he went to court, got a judge. They're looking over it now. I don't know if they have approved or anything of that, but they have submitted to courts basically TOS changes and ways that Twitch needs to lawfully deal with their policies, deal with their TOS stuff, so that more stuff like what happened to him specifically doesn't happen. It's some California act. I can't remember exactly what it is specifically, but it's basically an act that prevents businesses from acting on the whole "it's a private company, we can do what I want" mantra, which is what Twitch has been doing with a lot of these bans. Dr. Disrespect, and a few others have all been banned on. It's the other in the TOS.
Yeah.
And they're basically, this lawsuit is going deep into that specifically, making them have to have zero gray area through their TOS, make it so that anybody that is partnered with Twitch has to go through, and they're proposing a checkbox system so that there is no fining ignorance if you get a ban from one of the remade Twitch TOS policies. If you get banned in one of those sections, you can't be like, "Oh, it was a gray area, I didn't know," because they want a checkbox system to be added to that. And removal of "Hey, we're a private business, we can ban who and when we want," that kind of thing. That's the long and short of it. It's a pretty, not exactly lengthy document, but there is a lot of stuff going into it. If you go, I hate advertising for this fucking guy because he's still a piece of shit, but if you go to his Twitter, he's got the full document pinned at the top of his Twitter page, Phantom Lord.
Isn't he a dick?
Yeah, he was one of the people that was in that CSGO Lotto kind of thing. He wasn't with specifically CSGO Lotto. It was a different CSGO skin lottery site that got hit for rigging bets and stuff like that. He's been purged of all charges through the previous lawsuit, by the way. They went through all of that. They couldn't pin him down on any of that, so that's all been taken away. But he is still in that boat with the CSGO Lotto people. And he actually goes into that in the document that he filed, where he is claiming, and I believe it, that I think he was the only one out of the CSGO Lotto and the CSGO Shuffle scandals that actually got reprimanded by Twitch, because he was the most popular one that was on Twitch at the time. All the other CSGO Lotto and CSGO Shuffle people are still partnered and still streaming. He was the only one that got reprimanded, and he never got a reason as to why he was banned.
Yeah, they used him as a fucking scapegoat. I mean, or not a scapegoat, but they just used him as a fucking billboard.
Yeah, we're going to ban this guy so that we show that we're against what was going on, and then hopefully wipe our hands clean of it.
Yeah.
Twitch fucked up. Twitch fucked up big time with how they handled this case. They've fucked up royally how they've handled other cases, and it just so happens that this guy is the one who's gonna try
Well-
to make it right. Like I said, I do not have much respect for the guy, but he is going through on his word that he had from the initial court case, where if he said if he wins that case, he's going to go and try to push forward more to make Twitch a safer place for partnered streamers.
Okay, I don't believe his fucking crusade in that shit. But
I don't either, but this is a good start.
yeah,
I think the TOS changes are a good thing. It's going to make it so that there's less gray area for people to skirt the TOS.
yeah. I mean,
And it's going to hold Twitch accountable for they're not going to be able to just like blind fire into the partner crowd with bans and stuff willy-nilly. They're going to actually have to sit down and possibly do a lot more manual reviewing than what they currently are.
well, here's my question in regards to this. And I have two things. One, I want to know, Bite, what are you talking about with FaZe? Because I don't know I mean, I know FaZe had underage people on their roster, but I don't know how.
No, this is brand new things with FaZe. What Byte, I believe, is referring to is the cryptocurrency scandal that's going on with a few of the FaZe members right now. FaZe Jarvis, FaZe Tico, and one other that I can't remember his name right off the top of my head. But they've removed them from the team right now because they were doing a cryptocurrency scandal. It was a Save the Kids token. It was supposed to be a charity token that they ended up pumping and dumping with Rice Gum and a few other people.
I mean, so here's the thing. So two things, right? One, I do want to. There's another thing I want to talk about with Twitch and this kind of like how like it plays in the whole CS Lotto and then Phantom Lord kind of thing as well. But this is the thing. I mean, we talked about cryptocurrency, I think, a while back when it first started happening, when it was the AMC and all this. Like, crypto is yes, is it possibly the wave of the future? Maybe. Like, is it an interesting
thing? I
thing?
think stable coins are.
But like, it is even stable coins, man, they can be fucked with, right? Like, the thing about cryptocurrency is that it is not like, people have this concept and this idea of like getting away from big banks, and I'm all about it. I understand, like, yes, but the understanding is that those big banks, that stuff like that is federally backed, it's federally done. Like, it's very, very difficult to really fuck with in a way where your money can be gone like that in an instant. Not saying
that's also why people want cryptocurrencies, because cryptocurrency isn't governed by the federal government.
Right, but cryptocurrency can be fucked with just like this.
I mean, but federal government currencies can be fucked with just as easily.
I'm not saying they're not.
Overspending and inflation is already affecting us as we speak.
I mean, I get what I'm saying about is that in a way where you have someone like an NFT, like, look, you can go and create an NFT right now. It is not difficult to create an NFT and create the cryptocurrency. And if enough people buy into it, it's a thing or whatever. That's how the fuck we got Dogecoin, right? Or whatnot.
My mindset on all of that is play stupid games, win stupid prizes. These coins are volatile. You know what you're getting into going into it. Yes, these influencers are preying off some of the more ignorant members of their communities and stuff. But anybody that knows anything about cryptocurrency knows that the shit coins, for instance, like what Dogecoin was supposed to be and all that stuff, it's a slippery slope, and you're either going to win some or you're going to lose a lot. I feel like taking those as the main basis of crypto right now is the wrong way of doing it. Shitcoins are like new Twitch streamers. They come and go within like a few days. Like, 1 minute they'll be up, they'll be streaming, yeah, we're fucking going with it, guys, and then the next week they're done with it. It's the same kind of shit like that. It's the stable coins that are going to make this kind of stuff, like Ethereum, like BNB, like USD coin. It's that kind of stuff that's going to give that what the end goal dream is, which is a universal currency, so that Australians don't have to pay $120 for a game that we as Americans only have to pay $70 for. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The problem is that I mean, this is going off way left field into discussions that we don't necessarily need to go into, but I just don't ever see it. Realistically, I don't ever see it happening, right? Because the thing about it is, people that have power don't just give up power, and it's not like people that it's not like starting a new country or whatever. Like, you're talking about fucking with economy, fucking with money, and people that have money are not going to let, like, these governments are not just going to be like, yeah, okay, fine, cool. Like, we're cool with continuously losing shit. Like, they will, not saying that cryptocurrency won't be a thing, but it will be a cryptocurrency that is completely controlled by the government. Like
Well,
that's
that's the
that's
It
what will
worst
won't do
case
happen.
well.
scenario in my
Yeah,
book. Yeah, that'll
it won't do
as soon
well.
as a government gets its hands on cryptocurrency as we know it will have
That's
died. It
Well,
that's
that's
what
what's
happened
happened in
with
China.
yeah, that's what happened with Bitcoin. Is like Bitcoin's been being bought up by plenty of world governments. I mean, I think America itself was buying up thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of them to try and get them into the currency banks and stuff, and that's why it's starting to take a dip.
Yeah, it's anyway. Like I said, that's going off way left field. Let's bring it back into this. The thing about that's interesting about the CS:GO stuff, and this is, and I wanted to bring this up as well. Is I don't have you guys been watching what's been happening on Twitch lately with slots? Like, so slots has always been a
Yeah.
thing. It's been around, right?
I didn't know it was a thing, honestly.
You didn't? Okay, so
No, that's a part of Twitch I never ventured to.
well, it's because it never really came up a lot. It was one of these things that was kind
Talking
of
like slot machines.
okay. It well, kind of, but it was in the shadows of Twitch, right? But over the last couple of weeks, these big streamers, Yasua, Trainwrecks, even the likes of like I think Ninja, but some of these other guys have started picking up
Isn't
slots.
XQC part of that shit?
XQC is part of it. And it is going over to gambling sites that are not legal based off the UEIG of, I think, 2020 or 2019, no, 2016.
Yeah.
Sorry, UEIG of 2016. It basically bans any kind of online gambling or online casinos in the U.S. completely, as well as several other European countries and countries across the world. But what's happening is like people like XQC, people like Yasua, and all these other people, they're using a VPN to get in, and they're doing it on stream. And you know, it's interesting. I went in and watched some of these things, right, and watched these streams, and it's really interesting because when you're talking about like a gambling addiction, this hits on a whole nother level of gambling addiction that's in my mind way different than like just if you have a gambling addiction, your whole thing is you stay away from places like casinos and things like that or whatever else. But when you go on the stream and you see it happening right there, like this is something where like all the flashing lights, all of the stuff, you've got these live streamers that are like dumping money and they're like betting $10,000 at a time, but they're winning hundreds of thousands of dollars. But at the same time, it's illegal. Like it's technically illegal in the states that they're doing it in. Like I'm really interested to see what Twitch is gonna do. I seriously like to you three
Especially
or to you
considering
guys.
gambling is illegal to like advertise the minors, isn't it? Or like
Yeah.
there's something
So
protecting minors
you can't,
from
it's the same reason why like loot boxes and shit got banned, because you can't, the addictive nature of gambling cannot be like I said, advertised to any kind of minors in any way, shape, or form. And so on Twitch, all you have to do is put an 18 plus tag. By TOS, you just have to put an 18 plus tag. You don't even have to have it to where it says your channel is labeled 18. You just have to have it under your title as 18 plus. I recently just found that out. I looked at the TOS for that. So you like, I mean, it's just a really weird thing because I'm like, is this going to be hit? Like, is this really going to happen? Because I would tell you to my podcast hosts, I can't say this to any of you guys, like, that are watching podcast hosts, go check it out and go look at what I'm talking about and come back and I'm gonna tell you, man, I think like the CS:GO lotto stuff, if we, there was obviously reasons behind that other than just this, like it being lottery based and whatever else, like there was some foul work at play. But this stuff, man, is in my mind very dangerous, like very dangerous.
Like I said, I hadn't heard anything about this. I had no clue that kind of stuff was going on.
I had vaguely heard information about it. I know that fucking Pokimane was like on her high horse being like, you guys need to stop this right now. Like, this is unacceptable to be coming from some of the biggest streamers on Twitch. I can't even freaking fathom why you would do. I'm like, shut the fuck up, Pokimane.
Here's the thing about it, where I'm on her side about it, is that technically you are like breaking law. Like it is breaking the law. You're not like U.S. citizens, U.S. based are not allowed to go and do this unless you have a VPN, right? Or well, you're using a VPN, and even still, it's still technically illegal. Like that's where I'm just kind of like, Twitch, hey,
Yeah.
hello, like this isn't like I'm using a VPN to play a video game, like playing Lost Ark on a Russian server. This is using a VPN to basically go in and bet money that is a clear violation of US law. Like,
Right.
That's where I'm kind of like, where does this, and when I'm talking like they're showing people winning I'm talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. But at the same time, it's not like they are not explaining or understanding, which is not their place to do, to be like, hey, we just bet 50 grand, right? We just lost $50,000. You know what I mean? Like, it's more or less the thing of saying like, hey, this is a federal law that like they are breaking, you know what I mean? Like, on your site, that's where I'm interested to see where this goes with Twitch, because something's gonna happen. Like I may take forever, but something is gonna happen for sure.
This combined with the cryptocurrency stuff, because I've been watching a few YouTubers covering the situation and other like pump and dump schemes where people are just coming on to Twitch and advertising it outright to their community, showing themselves buying X cryptocurrency of the day, and it's a slippery slope, man. And they all use like the excuse not financial advice and stuff like that, but I don't feel like that kind of stuff, if it were to be taken to court, would actually hold up. Like, I don't know enough about that to really say one way or the other how, like, it's unethical as fuck, but I don't know the legalities of it.
I mean, I think the pump and dump thing can be definitely held up in court. The whole like stock trading thing. I mean, there's a lot of people that do stock tradings on Twitch, and I mean, again, that comes down to you, and even to like, if this wasn't illegal in the United States for them to be gambling online, I don't give a fuck, right? Because it's up to you to be a adult about something, or be smart with your money. I mean, I can't stop you from going out and blowing $700 on Riot loot boxes, or whatever else. But like,
Yeah.
that's not the problem that I have. It's the legality issue of that. Legitimately, I'm not going to be dumb enough to like stream myself playing fucking slots on Twitch, because all I have to do is somebody like a federal judge is just be like, oh, okay, cool, great, I'm gonna take you to court, like, because what you're doing is breaking the law. Like, and because I know where you live at, like I can fucking pull your records and see where you live. You know what I mean? Like that's the part where I'm like, you're breaking the law. You know what I mean? Like, so that's Anyway, something I wanted to bring up, because it is something, like I said, I want to talk about next week too, because I want to spend more time on it, because I think there's a lot here to unpack. But moving on, we're going to go into what we've been playing, and like always, I'm always excited the fact that we have this new, where's my mouse? Hello, there we go. But we
Did
have
you remember to feed it?
no, he got mad and went over in the corner. But we have this new video section. Super pumped, always pumped about it. But so myself, Enigma, and Scruffy have been playing a game called the shorthand version of it is Solo.
Swords of Legend Online.
Yep, Swords of Legend Online. And if you're unfamiliar with what this is an MMO RPG that's been out in the East for years. I think like 6 years, right? Or something like that.
3 or 4, yeah.
And it is launched over here. It is a buy to play. Once you've bought it, you're done. There are, right now, as it stands, no pay to win mechanics. It is fully online, and it's an MMO. Enigma, I'm gonna let you talk first, because you've been playing it more than I have, obviously. But yeah.
I mean, I found it to begin with. I was excited when it first released, or when it first released info on it. I still am. I still enjoy the game in and of itself. The gameplay and everything like that, I think, is really fun. The arc is pretty fun. I know that you're not a big fan of it because of the dungeons. They don't really randomize the dungeons all that much, but
I'll talk about what I'm.
I don't know. Like I said, I enjoy it to an extent of what the gameplay offers, essentially, right?
Yeah.
You're essentially getting a action MMORPG with Asian themes, you know, and a very good. I mean, it's a 3-year-old game, so it's fairly fleshed out to begin with. I don't know. I enjoy it. It's got good cosmetics. It's
Yeah.
a good time, but there is definitely issues. 100% fucking issues with this release.
So as somebody who's only ever like the only MMO I've sunk any decent amount of time into is Final Fantasy 14, and I actually remember dabbling like slightly, just a little tippity tip into Blade and Soul, and I feel like this is more of a comparable to Blade and Soul.
Yeah.
What like I guess how does it compare to those kinds of
It
games like
so right out of the gate, I can tell you that like it feels like Blade and Soul in my opinion.
it looks a lot like Blade and Soul from
Yeah.
what I remember playing. Like I said, I only like played it for like a day and then uninstalled it because it just wasn't for me. But
It's so one, I will tell you, this game I don't think is for you either. I don't even know if it's for me, to be 100% honest. And like, I am an MMO fan. And the comment that I made that I think that sums this game up very well, in my opinion, is I don't know if if it's a good MMO or if it's just that there's no MMOs out right now that are new, right? You know, and after playing it last night, and again, Enigma has put in a lot of time. Enigma's buddies have put in a lot of time with this. You know, I will say that some of the people that we play with, I think, are on the bias side because they are just MMO like fanatics when it comes to stuff like I put in $40. That's all I'm putting in. I'm not putting any more fucking money into this game. Like that, it doesn't, in my opinion, right now, doesn't deserve it for sure. And until it gets
you said
better.
it's a 3-year-old game. If it doesn't deserve it now, when will it?
Well, so
No,
here,
it's a 3-year-old game, but we don't have everything that the 3-year-old version has. Like we
Oh,
have,
okay, so
we
we
are
just got
three
shipped
years.
vanilla.
Yeah, we are 3 years behind what they are in China.
in
Right.
some
So
parts though, like, right, because here's the other thing too, is like, this is my issue. Like I okay, let me say what I like, because a lot of times I get flamed for fucking being harsh on games. What I like about the game is I like the combat system. And I think it reminds me of WildStar, like being action-based combat. I think it's a pretty game. Like, I think that it's a very, very, you know, beautiful.
watch for your swords.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. He said it so many times. It's a very beautiful game. You know, and it's the combat is fun. That's what I like about it. And there's like there are nuggets there of it being what I think could be a very good MMO. The problem that I have with it is that it's a
There's no
3-year
dungeons.
it's a 3-year game. No, there's dungeons. It's a 3-year game, right? But then they held back content, but they dumped in all of the like extra bullshit on top of stuff. It's like there's 1,000 fucking currencies. There's like
No, they didn't hold back that content. That was in the game on vanilla. This is an Asian game. They have a million different coin bases.
So I'm not saying just this is a currencies thing, but there's things in there that I feel like, and again, I don't know because I don't know the game that when it originally vanilla launched, but like
Yeah,
it really feels
as far
like
as I know, and as far as I've been told, this is how they got it when it first released. They have not added in anything to the game since for the extra 3 years. This is just an Asian game. Like they
Well,
have
I
a
don't know,
million
man.
different currencies. They have a million different things to look at, and they have a million different things to keep track of.
Maybe it's just like the because the localization is shit or whatever, but like there's no explanation of anything. And maybe I'm a dumb Westerner or whatever else. It's just like you know, I don't understand, but like there's currencies on things, on stuff, on top of things, on top of stuff, on top. Like you saw the very beginning was like this origami world, right? They don't really like they explain what this is, but once you're there, you're like, what the fuck is all of this, right? And like I tried to like pay attention to the storyline and the dialogue, but it is fucking atrocious. Like it is.
Yeah, it's really bad. I
Bad.
think that a monkey with Google Translate could have done a better job than what they
It's-
did.
So it's
Like
just poorly,
legitimately,
it's just
it
poorly
was just
translated.
it's terrible, man.
It's bad, and you can't like. I was
And
like, go ahead.
I was about to say like just looking at it and just like trying to read it. Like usually with like bad translations from these Eastern games, you can most of the time you can gain what's going on. You can gather what the fuck they're trying to say, right? Like there's certain aspects of this game that I'm just like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, literally, they don't explain shit. Like they don't explain shit, And then when they do, stuff's misspelled. Like Artifact, they spelled it ARTE. They spelled meats or something like that, Mets or something shit like that. That was like, I don't know. They were trying to say, I think meters or whatever, but they spelled it like MEETS or some
Yeah.
crap or something like that. It was, I mean, it's bad. And then not even just that, but like the oh god, okay, the way that they voice
Al.
this shit, the way that they voice it is so fucking bad that
I will give them props. I will give them props. They went through and got voice actors to voice like 90% of the lines in this game, right? The
So
problem is,
there's very little just red text.
there's very, I mean, there is a lot of red text. It's just like all the like the cut scenes and everything like that, that's all been voiced and voice acted, right? And then there's a lot of like text scenes that are voice acted, and there's a lot of in-game dialogue that's been text or that's been voice acted. The problem with it is, and what Sin was about to say is, it's so bad.
it's bad.
Like it
It's
legitimately is like they went on Fiverr and were like, we need like 30 fucking voice actors,
Fuck.
and they got like the 30 voice actors that were like, yeah, I'll do that for $20.
But it's like, I'm not kidding you. It's an Eastern game, right? So it's completely based in like old, like Asian culture, but like Asian fantasy culture, right? But then we have the narrator sometimes wants to be English and have an English accent, sometimes
Yeah.
doesn't, or whatever. Then you have people that like are. Yesterday, I came across an Asian dude with a Scottish accent that was talking about some girl being in a brothel, and I'm like, "What the fuck
Hey,
is
man.
happening?" And then
Hey man, you don't fuck with Scottish samurais,
and
alright?
then, and then Enigma had a guy had a girl that was like doing her voice lines, and then all of a sudden it was a dude.
Straight up, dude sounded like me. He was like, it went from like girl, like, oh, thank you, adventure. Hey, what's up? You want to?
It's so fucking bad. And
You want to come back to my house and get a drink? I'm like, no, I really don't.
if you're watching, and then they like, then sometimes they'll have accents, and sometimes they don't, and then other times they're like, what? Like in this, like I'm like, okay, cool. Like maybe, like at first you're like, oh, they're playing into like the Asian kind of like, I don't know, like goofiness, but like stereotypical kind of like, you know, the Asian kind of kung fu movie. But then it's like, oh no, they're trying to take themselves serious. Oh no, this is just bad. And like, then the even worse part about it is like, I'm like, okay, cool. So you know what? I'm just gonna watch the cutscenes. I'm not even gonna fucking listen to dialogue. I'm just gonna watch cutscenes. But you can't watch the cutscenes because the dialogue of someone talking doesn't match up to the animation. And so when in Korean or whatever language the game was originally came out in, and the animation was done in, finishes, the English version is not done, and they're getting interrupted and cut off by the next cutscene. So it's just like, holy
Yeah,
shit.
In Chinese and Japanese and a lot of the Eastern languages, they're very like they're very straight to the point, right? Like our
It's a very
language, the
concise,
English,
short
yeah,
language,
the English language in most instances is extremely long-winded.
Yeah.
Whereas like
it's-
Chinese, Japanese, everything like that, it's very, you're on the point. Just get to it, get to the fucking point, right? And so you'll have this like long ass fucking dialogue of text, and like right in the middle of it, it just stops because they can't.
they can't because the animation just stops. And then on top of that, like it's I'm like, okay, cool. Like, and again, I'm giving this game as many chances as I can. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna go and just listen to it in fucking Japanese, right? Like I'm just, that's the way I'm gonna do it. I turn it to Japanese, and then my fucking text in the game is in Japanese in the sense like I'm going to like go to the trader and be like, hey, I need
So
a
you
trade.
can't
And it's in
separate the two?
Japanese. Like, well, but it's only, but part of it is, part of it's not. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like
It's rough, man.
it
And it's sad. It's sad too because like the game has a very like it has potential. It has a very good backbone. I like the combat. I like the systems inside of it. I think it's got potential. My favorite part of it is the fucking housing system. I finally got into the housing system, and the housing system is so fucking like you can literally do anything that you want in the housing system. Like you can make floating islands.
you said it was like
You
it was better
can-
than WildStar. WildStar
It's
was
better.
really good.
Yeah, 100%. I think it was better than WildStar, and WildStar was insane, man.
Yeah.
You can make some crazy shit in the housing system. Like I have a floating island. I wish that I had some images, some footage of it, but like 100%, like the freeform that you can do with housing system just makes up for a lot of the shit that I had to go through to get to beginner 1, which is like level 37 just to get to it. Um but it's got very good backbones
Yeah.
and it's got very good potential. I just don't know if Game
And,
Forge
and
can
we haven't
fucking
even
do it.
talked about the fucking servers yet. Like the
Yeah,
servers are
that's
there
that's the
is
one of the biggest issues that we're
one
running into right
server
now.
for US.
One
One.
server for the US. Then and like when they released it, they were like, we've got two servers for both EU and NA. So EU has two servers, EU2, EU1, and NA was supposed to have NA1, NA2, right? They were like, it's ready to go. We're ready to fucking pop it up as soon as we need it, as soon as we think we need it. Well, they needed that last fucking Sunday month,
Yeah, it's bad. Like
and they
rubber
used
banding
it.
is terrible.
And they actually came out with an update today, and I just found out about this today. I'll read this off to you. This is a quote straight from the update, straight from their little section that they did. It says it's important to note that even though the network issues reported for NA servers this past weekend have now been resolved, high ping issues are a separate matter, more commonly caused by physical distance from the servers and usually reported by players that play from countries and regions that are physically too far away from the server locations. For example, Oceania. This is normal for any game and cannot be solved without offering additional servers closer to their location. Kind of like making a second server for West Coast. But while we do not have plans to provide additional servers at the moment, that could possibly change in the future depending on the number of community members that play from said territories.
Bullshit. Fucking bullshit. And I'm sorry, I call their bluff and I call their bullshit because I'm East Coast and their servers are East Coast. And
Yeah.
yesterday I could not fucking play. Like I was
100%.
rubber banding all the time. Like
I'll call their bullshit too because they say that it's from people that are outside of the country and outside of regions. I'm in West Coast and I still have terrible fucking ping.
Yeah.
Like most MMOs, if I'm playing on East Coast server, I'm having like 50 ping, 60 ping at tops. I get like almost 200 ping to the server.
yeah,
It's ridiculous.
I mean, it's a the thing about it, like I don't know, man. Again, I give it the same treatment that I normally I give to games because I think one of the things that, like you said it yesterday, Enigma, and I feel like chat or Bill or anybody else would tell me like a game like this I would be going fucking in on, and it is like I really think the only nugget that it's there in my mind right now, because everything else in my opinion is not really done well, is combat. That's the only thing that I feel like in my mind it does.
All that matters,
it does
baby,
well,
the action.
is combat. Yeah, but in an MMO that's not necessarily the case, especially when you have something that's like 3 years out. Like I'm not saying that like I need to be handheld through a lot of this shit, but there's a lot in here that is literally not explained and is just dumped on you to be like, hey, I don't know, like, yeah, you know what I mean?
From
And
a
like,
fresh MMO perspective, I feel like most are like that though. Like Final Fantasy 14 didn't have a lot of explanation in the beginning. Probably had a lot more than what this game does, but
I mean, Final Fantasy 4, well, are you talking about ARR or are you talking about original Final Fantasy 14? Because
Realm Reborn.
I mean,
The only thing I have experience with.
I think Final Fantasy 14 does a good job of kind of hand holding in a way that it needs to. Like, and I'm not asking for a lot. I'm just asking for some. Like, this is atypical, and Enigma said it. This is and I get it. It's an Eastern MMO, but still, like, if you're launching in the West, there needs to be some stuff. Like, at this point, I would have been like, hey, how about you don't pay the fucking people to do voice acting because it's shit, and you actually, like, put money into, like, maybe giving me a little bit of like stuff to understand like what the fuck is going on a little bit.
I personally would rather they not voice acted everything and gave us a fucking second server in West Coast.
Yeah, I mean, and like the dungeons that I've experienced, and again, I've not experienced all the dungeons, right? I've only experienced like 3, I think, or 4. 3. They're tank and spank right now. Like I've heard, you know, that it gets a lot better. That's what I'm trying to play to see like,
Tank
hey,
and Spank,
like what is this?
Explain to New Brain.
Yeah.
Tank and spank is just where essentially you go in there, your tank fucking pulls a dual wall and you beat it the fuck down.
Right.
There's mechanics. Like there's no vast mechanics like moving to certain areas or doing certain puzzles, everything like that. So
Gotcha. Okay.
But like what I've talked to people that we are playing with and that people are higher level, like essentially like they're running it through this with these things called battle companions that like they're taking a 5-10 man dungeon and they're doing it with 3 people, right? And I'm like,
They're doing normal. They're doing normal versions of the game with battle companions. You can't do hard mode with battle companions.
yeah,
You have to do hard mode, which is the one that changes up a lot of the mechanics inside of the game,
Yeah.
or a lot of the mechanics inside the dungeon.
the other side about that too is that you have to get to level 37 to unlock to technically get through the tutorial, and then you get to what's called student 1, which is I guess where the full game opens up. Well, not full game, but like it becomes the ability to do like the hard stuff and or normal dungeons and hard dungeons. But my other issue with this is like the normal and hard dungeons are not new dungeons. There are the redo of the old dungeons, which I don't know how. I mean, how many are there total? Like, is it like 5? I think,
Like
or 6?
5 or 6, yeah,
Like
something like that.
that's you know, I don't know, man. To me, I'm like, again, if this is a game that's been out for 3 fucking years, like, why?
Yeah, it's been out for 3 fucking years, but again, we are 3 years behind them.
Yeah, but I mean, again, when I guess my whole thing about it is like when you have MMOs that are out like Final Fantasy, when you have stuff like out that, and I understand Final Fantasy's been out for a long fucking time or whatever, but I'm like still when I look at MMOs, I want more than just 5 dungeons. Like I want more than just that little bit. And definitely if I'm gonna have this amount of stuff, or I don't know how long we're gonna get before we get new content. I mean, we're already getting new fucking cosmetics. But like
Start with me on that, man. That pissed me off this morning. Looking, opening up my Steam and seeing them. We're having so many issues with West Coast people and NA in general having connection issues, and they're like, "Hey, by the way, we took the server down last night to fix some shit, but we didn't really fix anything. We just added more cosmetics to the cash shop. Hope you enjoy the cat ears."
yeah,
And
like
Listen, cat ears are important, man. There's their make or break.
apparently,
For
man.
I
And
mean,
they twitch. They twitch and move. So
yeah. So basically, what this has made me one, it makes me really want. Well, I'm gonna say Lost Ark, but I have hopes for Lost Ark. I know people are gonna
Want a
tell me Lost
refund.
Ark's probably gonna get trash. I do. It makes me want a refund. I really do. I can't refund it. And it makes me want to go play fucking Final Fantasy. I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's where it's at. Like, I I cannot justify telling anybody in this chat to go buy this game. Like me personally, I don't think it's a good MMO. I think it is. I think it's got good combat. I don't think it's a good MMO. That's just me personally.
I think it's got good. I think it's got good bones behind it, but I definitely think that they need to fix some shit. They need to fix their servers. They need to redouble their focus on the actual game rather than the cosmetic shop. And I just don't think that GameForge is going to do that.
Yeah.
So
Yep. So yeah. Maybe if it's on sale, I don't know, pick it up. Don't pay full price. So that's that. I also picked up and started playing another game called Stalker. I played this yesterday. This is yeah, it's how old is this? 10 years, I think, right? 11 years
like
old.
it's
that.
pretty.
No,
It's
it's
pretty
pretty old.
old, man.
Yeah. It is I was told that this game was amazing, right? Like I was told that by Enigma, by Bill, by several people that were like, this game is fantastic, right? And from what I've played so far, like I'm enjoying it. I mean, I am definitely enjoying the game. It's
So I was about to say, you say this game is shit. I'm gonna fucking come over there, and bitch
I
slap
knew
you.
it was somebody was waiting for it, man. Somebody was like, "This motherfucker's about to trash this shit." No, I
I'm
mean,
glad you're liking it.
it is slower paced, for sure, and it's a game that drops you in and basically is like, I don't know, like you gotta have an overarching mission, but do whatever you want. You know what I mean? Go do something. But it's yeah, man. It's I guess let me ask you a question: does the accuracy get better? Like, or is the
It'll
accuracy
get better with attachments and stuff.
No.
okay? Because like it's rough.
Your base stuff that you're gonna get in the beginning is gonna be your bare bones kit. You might get a rare attachment or something that will help you, but it's very much around like hoarding your equipment and then min maxing based off of pieces that you get.
Yeah.
Okay. It's because like the stuff that I played, like where I'm like, and what I'm showing here is for anybody that's not played this game or not seen this game, and what made me want to play is because Stalker 2 is coming out, and I made a comment to Enigma. I was like, why is this fucker throwing bolts? Because I don't understand why he's just throwing bolts everywhere. And so now I will know why someone's throwing bolts. But it's I think you said it's like Fallout meets. I think someone said like Fallout meets Tarkov.
Fallout meets
Um,
Tarkov.
Yeah.
That was my comparison to it in the fact that it's got like this hardcore like Tarkov elements, but it's Fallout's a weird one to compare it to, and it was the only thing that came to mind with like open world with guns. But it kind of works, especially with like some of the creatures and stuff. Like there's zombies, there's feral like killer cats and shit.
oh yeah,
Like,
trust me, I came across them.
the cats are the worst. The cats are some of the worst things you could possibly run into in that game.
I think Enigma stopped. I think Enigma came back into channel when I was like sitting in a bush. I was like looking at my inventory, and I just happened to watch these like this pack of like dogs like walk by, and I'm not thinking anything of it, and I'm like, oh, and all of a sudden they just turn at me and fucking just murder me. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I came back just in time to him being like, "Oh, hey, look at you, Papa! Oh my God, I'm dying!"
Yeah, and I think I died 9 to 10 times in the first like fucking 5 minutes of this game. So you know, it's definitely an interesting thing. There are some stuff that like as if you're coming into it like being like, oh, like the AI mechanics, for instance, like this right here, like I am shooting a bunch of people and nobody else around them gives a shit. Like they don't care.
Oh, those are zombies. They're not
Those
gonna
are
care
zombies.
regardless.
Oh, I didn't know they were
Yeah.
zombies. Oh, I thought they were because they were shooting. So wait, their zombies can shoot.
Oh, maybe they're not.
But
Hot
you,
damn. Okay.
You,
They
you
were
gotta,
walking around like they were zombies.
you gotta remember, this game is an old fucking
Is
game, and the
yeah.
AI back then was not the best.
no, I just find it funny that like the buddy, like I'm literally shooting a dude that is like standing like this next to another dude, and I'm like this guy goes, "Pfft," and then this guy's still like just walking around like there ain't nothing to it or whatever. So, I mean, again, whatever. Like I said, don't go into it like under thinking that it's gonna be like super high end like graphic. I mean,
No,
it doesn't look bad graphically. I think
it
it's
doesn't. And like the actual graphics have definitely lasted the test of time,
yeah.
better than most of those games that came out around that time.
But it's definitely one of those things where it's not a gun. Like it's not. You're not gonna be able to go in. I learned very quickly yesterday of being like, I'm just going in
You
wasting
got
ammo.
Pripyat, right?
Huh?
You got Pripyat yet, right?
Yeah.
Call it
Call
Pripyat.
it Call it Pripyat. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so 2009.
Yeah. That's what everybody told me to pick that one up. That was the one to play.
Yeah, it's the better.
But that what was I gonna? Oh, I was burning through ammo like fucking crazy. I was playing it like a shooter, and then realized very quickly I was like, "Fuck, I have 2 bullets. Like I don't have anything."
You can't go. It really is kind of like Tarkov, where you really have to kind of conserve your ammo and watch how much actual shooting you're doing.
Yeah. It's again, and it's interesting. I mean, again, like I said, there's a lot of like I picked up several missions, several side quests. You know, and the little bit I'm playing of it, it's fun. Like, there is a survival element, there is like bleeding, radiation, all of those kind of things. But it is, I think, to me, I want to go through it more because I'm also in my mind. I compare it a lot of times to Metro, and a lot of people are telling me not to do that. Like, don't compare it to Metro.
Metro is full shooter in like it's significantly more shooter-esque than
More-
what this is. This
yeah.
this leans heavily into the survival aspect, with shooting being the secondary aspect.
For sure.
Okay, well, cool. Well, I mean, again, I'm enjoying it. I'm playing it on the hardest difficulty that you possibly can. And everyone told me
As
I was
you
a
should.
fucking madman for doing that. So,
Well, like I said, like easy or rookie is hard enough as is. So like just adding even more fucking health and I think it's one shot kills on the highest difficulty. Like if you get shot pretty much anywhere, you're done.
Is
I-
that all the difficulty spike does? And this is just
I think so.
it tanks things up, and okay, so it's just a numbers buff. That's
Yeah.
that's
It
a
doesn't
little
it doesn't
boring.
tank anything up as far as I know. I think it's a one shot kill basically on you and on them. So
it up well
it
by someone that plays it a
definitely-
lot, they said it ups your damage, ups their damage. That's it.
Yeah.
So
Oh, so okay, so it's a more of a realism mode.
yeah.
I like that actually. I if I were to get into a survival shooter such as this, I would like that kind of an aspect where I need to play it perfect, but I'm also able to nothing pisses me off more than getting one shot and not being able to one shot back. So
Yeah.
that's
Well,
good.
bullet sponging has always been one of those things that I've hated games doing.
Same.
Fucking what's it called?
The Division.
Yeah, Division is terrible with that, where it's just like they're insanely tanky for no apparent reason. Like there's nothing to explain why that dude I just shot it. I just emptied like 3 clips into his face and he's still alive.
The other thing too, man, that I was blown away about was just like the amount of how fast your weapons fucking degrade.
Yeah.
Because and once they degrade to a certain point, your weapon jams. And actually, in one, I don't know if it's in it should be in this clip, but somewhere around here, like my weapon jams mid fucking fight, and I'm like, oh, okay, and it killed me. I died. so, so yeah. But it's again, it's interesting. It's fun. It's a good time. I'm enjoying it. It's an old game. You can pick it up for like $20 on Steam. The new one is
and it's well worth it.
the new one's coming out, and there's a shit ton of mods that apparently like completely changed the game like in different ways.
Yeah, you can completely overhaul a game.
So
Like I said, once you play through this one, I would definitely suggest checking out Stalker Anomaly
I mean, roughly
because it's a complete story overhaul.
how
Kind of like
long
what
is the
Fallout
game?
Frost is.
roughly.
It's a pretty long game. Like I can't remember exactly how long it was, but it's a fairly decently long game if I remember
I'm
correctly.
thinking like 10 to 12 hours, which is good for this kind of a game.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'm not 100% sure, and that's if you're able to get through it. The length kind of comes from trial and error.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. So I mean, that was one of the things I was wondering about. Was how long the actual game was as well. You know, with doing just kind of mainlining stuff or doing storylines.
Okay,
stuff.
never mind. 15 hours for
That's what I
main
thought.
story. Yeah, 15 for main story, around 50
like-
for completionist.
Yeah, so I was about to say that if I remember correctly, I thought it was around 40, 45, somewhere around there for like full completion.
Yeah.
Well, this is one of the areas too that you're about to see. And again, I know if you're listening, you're not going to understand. But I basically went down into a pit and heard something, and then didn't see anything until it was in my fucking face. And it was 3 of these mutant bloodsucker bitches or whatever else. And actually, I think in this one, I think I die. I'm pretty sure. But like, just like literally 2 tapped, pop out, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then I'm like, oh, I'm dead. And it's because there's
Those guys are neat. I like them.
But what was cool about it, which I was worried too, was that I was like, okay, cool. So I went and did this, and then there's a mission that I went on, and the guy was like, oh, let me take you to the lair. And I was like, motherfucker, it's gonna respawn these bitches back, because that's what I'm used to. I think I don't even games today do that shit where they don't like persist. And I was like, fuck me, man, I'm gonna have to refight these guys. I don't have ammo to do this. Let's go. And so we went down there, and nope, they were like, the AI didn't react to them being dead. He was still like, let's crouch around. Oh, wait, what's going to go see happen? But like, I was like, oh, cool. They're not going to respawn right here. So that's great. So that was cool. I'm enjoying a game for it being old. I'm very impressed so far. So I will keep playing it. I want to play. My hope is to play all the way through it. I don't know if I'll do it,
man.
I don't know if I'm going to do a
very good
50-hour
experience.
fucking full playthrough. But at least through the main story, I do want to get through it. So, yep. All right. So that was it for me. But Mr. Bill, you were playing some Code Vein, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah. So one of my community members had a birthday a while ago, and we were going to start the playthrough up more around that birthday, but timing just wasn't working out. But she had about a week off where she was able to actually come on and play on my time slot and stuff, and we powered through that game. And I slept on Code Vein. I slept on Code Vein for a very very long time.
Very good.
Code Vein, The Surge, there's a few other Souls-likes that I didn't give a chance for one reason or another, whether it was me hearing it from outside sources that they were subpar to like the traditional Souls games or whatnot. But I had a really good time with this game. It's not perfect by any means, but it's well worth playing if you like Souls games.
I think it's
I
great,
understand
dude.
the anime style can kind of put people off. I know that's not everybody's cup of tea. But
I don't know. I loved it. I love the anime style to it. I love the combat. I never finished it all the way through, but like I never got to try the co-op of it, but
I'm down to co-op through it if you ever want to give it a try. I told you I would do that with you before, back before I had played through it. I'll still do it again. I would happily play through this game again.
The thing I
It's
like
a very, very good time.
the thing I like about it too, and I mean, did you get to play around much with like how many like the different styles and like all the different like classes?
The game
and stuff?
forces you to basically.
Yeah.
And the way the class system works is it's basically interchangeable parts. You have a base static level up, but then whatever your code is basically equals your class, and you can mix like you can plug those out at any time that you want to meet whatever circumstance you need to. I was primarily going a gunner role with dexterity as my secondary.
Yeah.
And it worked out fine. Izzy was doing a one-handed sword with heavy like ranged magic abilities. So I was more up in face, and she was doing more like the casting, what you're seeing here.
So you're saying the classes are would you say that they're plug and play classes? Oh, that was a good one.
That was a great one. All the
Sin,
footage
didn't you think that was a good one?
Okay, cool. So I was looking to see if there's like fighting outside the boss. That's all.
No, this is the second to last boss of the game. This is my favorite fight of the game, so that's why I wanted to highlight it here for anybody that's watching. It's a fucking old game. If you're,
it's not that old. It's like a year and a half.
Why are you like this, Bill? Isn't that the quote that you used on me?
That was for a game that literally came out that week, motherfucker. Code Vein, when the fuck did this game come out? This game came out in 2019, so it's 2 years old.
2 years.
But
you know, it's fun. The story I think is interesting because you play as a vampire, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like, isn't that?
Yeah, they're called revenants in this game, but yeah, they require blood to survive.
And good suck.
Yeah.
The main plot of the game is you're trying to find like a permanent source. There's these trees that grow blood beads, and that's what the revenants use to basically. It's basically like True Blood, only it's nature giving you the reason not to fucking murder humans and not.
I'll tell you. They might not grow the blood beads very big, but they definitely grow the boobies in this game pretty big.
Well, it's anime.
Yeah,
so
the character customization is probably one of the best in the genre. Maybe second to Neo 2. Neo 2's character creator in this one are very, very good.
The chick at the start in the white, I was like, oh damn.
Neo, yeah. There's a few
I turned into Mickey Mouse for a minute. I was like, oh.
But the things this game does really well, it does extremely well, and bosses are that thing. This has some of the most unique and fun boss mechanics that I've seen in a Souls-like. There's I think there's only one big dude in an armor, like generic enemy guy, and even he had some like neat teleport moves that changed things up a bit. The bosses are top tier. The only downside that I had with this game is I wish the environments were a little bit more handcrafted. None of the environments really, like, they were very unique from one another. It never gave me like sensory like deprivation, but it was all like the layouts are very samey. It's very maze oriented, which I suppose that could be the style of it. But there was no landmarks. It didn't feel like anything was handcrafted. It felt like they were like locking pieces together in a puzzle. It didn't feel lived in. The areas had there's just a dissociation in level design, but enemy design and boss design very, very good. Although I would have liked a few more enemy types, but
gotta sacrifice someplace. You get good bosses. You get good enemy types. You gotta sacrifice on.
Yeah. What enemies they had in the game were very good. They had very different ways of dispatching them. Like I said, the bosses. This one in particular that I highlighted is probably one of my favorite Souls-like bosses to date. It is up there with the like Gale of Dark Souls 3's last DLC. It's that good, and they all feel very, very fair, which I feel like is a hard thing for devs to do sometimes with these kinds of games where the difficulty comes from unfair tactics.
Do they have difficulty meters?
Nope, no difficulty meters.
Oh.
There's also
Are you
a
about to gaming journo on me right now?
I'm gonna gaming journal on you, bro. How
there's
dare you?
there's also a demo for it, by the way, guys.
Is there?
Yeah.
Nice.
So if you want to go
Still?
and give it a try, yeah.
Wow.
I
Um,
will say, if you do plan on playing this game, anybody in chat, take advantage of the AI ally. This game is very much built around having either an AI ally or co-oping it with somebody, more so than any other Souls-like that I've played. The enemy AI, the boss AI, is very much tuned for split aggression. It will go back and forth between you and whoever you're fighting. If you're trying to fight it solo, you are going to have a very rough experience just because the aggression levels are so high on a lot of the bosses and on a lot of enemies. It doesn't give you a lot of time to breathe. It doesn't give you any time to heal, like, reasonably. Like, this fight, if I were to do it solo, he would never give me time to heal outside of his, like, transformations and stuff.
the one thing that I have, because I picked up Code Vein when it first came out and played it, and then you know, I fell off of it like I do a lot of games because I have an attention span of a fucking rat. But what I've heard from that the second one is going to allow you to do is what I was hoping that the first one was going to be able to do, which is where you are able to actually build out that second class or build out your second character and switch between them. So like you can basically be playing multiple characters at once, which I think,
Bandai Namco's confirmed a Code Vein 2?
yeah.
Wild. Hell yeah.
So
So you're basically creating and controlling two different characters, and you can swap between them as you go instead of
That's-
having to use
yeah,
like
that's
the
the rumor.
handmade AIs.
That's the rumor
That would be
between it.
dope. They left it open for that kind of thing. Like your main character in this one, I think there's multiple endings, but I'm pretty sure they all end up with you being like locked down to whatever position you're into. So having two fresh new protagonists to like build out and like spec, that would be really, really neat.
Yeah, which I think that was a good thing that like, I mean, there's games that have done that, but like I think Final Fantasy did a really good job with that. You know, Final Fantasy 15 being able to bounce between all the different characters.
Eventually, they had
you know.
added in DLC, but once they did, it was very well polished.
You know, and I think doing something like that in this would be a very cool, because again, that's not something that's done, right? Like there's not a game that does that right now. I don't like even Scarlet Nexus looked like it was going to do it, but it didn't do it, which is another game that I want to try.
The only thing with that is all of those games, they still like they're still static characters that you can't exactly build out. Like Final Fantasy 15, you still had your gunner, you had your daggers dude, you had your greatsword dude. You couldn't spec them out any other way besides those roles.
Right. Yeah, this is from the rumor that this is like a fully fledged another character that you build. And then
that's
like
interesting. I wonder how that's going to impact the story, because this game, more
I
so
don't know.
than a lot of Souls likes, was very story driven.
yeah,
And
I don't
each
know.
one of the characters that you can take as an ally had their own arc to it and had their own connections to some of the enemies and bosses that you fought.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's anime, man. They could fucking split this shit and do whatever they wanted with it. So, but did you play through all the DLCs as well, or is it just the main game?
No, that is something we plan on doing eventually. The DLCs were a little disappointing. They're not rated very highly because they're not like story-based DLCs. They are dungeon-based DLCs. So there's a bunch of side dungeons that you can do that will take you into other things, but they have no direct impact into the story.
Sorry, guys. Kids came in at the last.
That's fine.
minute. Mess with it.
But yeah, Code Vein, highly recommended if you like Souls likes. It was on sale during the summer sale. It should be still fairly cheap, so definitely check it out.
I thought about picking it up when it first came out, but I don't know. I'm not.
It's
a
still
big
full price,
Souls-like
man.
Player, yeah.
Well, the multiplayer, or I think the co-op would probably do you well. You know what I mean?
It's
Like,
highly
It's very possible.
co-op oriented.
I don't know if it's like on par with like Dark Souls in difficulty, and that's probably something that would help me out. But I just am not a big Souls player.
it's tough.
It's tough. The AI is actually very good in this game, so and like I said, it's built around having that AI companion. It's built around having a co-op partner. So
Well, I mean, it's just, at the end of the day, it's a Souls game. Yes, it is on Game Pass, by the way.
Oh, nice.
But it is a Souls game at its heart. I mean, so you got to understand that you're gonna die, and you have to fucking rinse
Yeah.
repeat.
Yeah.
But
If any of you guys want to play through it, like Enigma, I'll play through it with you, Sin, and I'll play through it with you.
Yeah.
The only issue that I have with the co-op system is it is specifically set to just
so one
two-player
person.
co-op.
Oh,
Yeah,
it
you
sounds
can
like
only
just
bring
based on
you can only bring one person. I don't think you can bring a third one. You can have a summoned in friend and
an AI companion.
an AI, but I don't think you can bring in two
Interesting.
friends.
Yeah.
Don't
Well,
quote me on that though. I'm not 100% sure.
I'm gonna call you on it.
It's also, I mean, here's the thing.
Writing it down now.
Unlike a lot of these games that are like this, a lot of these games they hold their value for a long time,
Right.
but
you can bring a third one in.
But-
I lied.
but they
Lies, you built on a throne of lies.
it's still full price, man. It's still $60. Like this game has held its value.
Yeah, but if it's on Game Pass, like that's.
Oh yeah, it's
that's
on Game
the-
Pass. But I'm just saying, if you, I picked it up when it was 60, and
I mean,
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
only 2 years out, and Bandai Namco doesn't tend to degrade their game prices too much. They're kind of like
No, and
Nintendo in that regard.
It's a Souls-like game. Like most of the Souls-like games do not really go down in price. Like I think fucking Dark Souls 2 is still pretty much almost full price, if not like discounted like $10 if that. So, and any Souls-like game that I've ever fucking seen on Steam,
They stand the test of time usually
Yeah.
fairly well as long as the mechanics hold up.
Yeah.
Steam page.
it's they're 30,
Dark Souls
49.
2 Scholar of the First
40.
Sin is $40. So
Yeah.
it's
so
yeah, it's still pretty pricey
it's
for how old
it's
it
still
is.
pretty much almost full price. I think when it first released, it was a $60 game. So
Yeah, it
But
was.
it's Code Veins, and there's DLC with it. You can, like I said, and it's well worth it, man. It's a good game.
Oh yeah, for
It's-
sure.
It's definitely a
get
good
them
game.
anime titties and them anime blood suckings.
So yeah, the other thing that you've been doing is going back and playing some Resident Evil, man. You're doing
Yeah, Resident Evil Village knife only.
what the fuck made you compelled you to do this?
He hates himself. It's confirmed.
I like challenge runs and I like Resident
Uh.
Evil 8, and this seemed like it was either this or a Village of Shadows run, and I knew I could finish this before I went on vacation. Village of Shadows is gonna be a whole nother ordeal.
Is this even doable on a fucking knife only run?
It is. It is 100%
Apparently.
doable with knife only. You can start this from the beginning, by the way.
Bro,
But
you got that CS:GO professional knife, bro.
yeah, it's
It's
the friend
Haruma or the Canberra or whatever it's called.
it's Chris's knife.
Yeah.
I do not believe this run. I know it technically stats wise it is possible to do it with the like default pocket knife that Ethan has, but that thing does like half the damage of a pistol
Hey,
bullet
hold on,
per slice.
real quick. By the way, if you've not played Final Fantasy VIII, like you may need to like just turn it to do audio only, because there's spoilers being shown on screen. Just as an FYI.
No, that's fair.
Wait, Final Fantasy 8?
Resident Evil 8 is what he meant.
Oh,
Resident
I was
Evil
like,
8.
what?
Sorry.
It's like,
Sorry.
what?
Resident Evil 8. There's Resident Evil 8 spoilers.
Yeah. But it's been really fun. The very beginning of the game up until you get to the Duke, the first time you have to go through with like base pocket knife, and it is a slog to try to kill anything. Like a base lichen takes like 15 to 20 slices with the base pocket knife. Like
Jesus.
I understand that it is doable, but so the Karambit's a knife that you unlock after you finish the game the first time. It's Chris Redfield's knife. It does significantly more damage. You can take out a lichen in 5 swings with this one.
I love
So
how
it makes the
I
it
love-
makes the run doable. I'm playing it on hardcore as well. I didn't want to do it on Village of Shadow, but I also didn't want to do it on casual.
No. I've one question for you.
Yeah, man.
Who hurt you as a child the worst?
that's a post podcast discussion, my guy.
Dude, I love how in this game the way that you stop damage is you just put your hands up. Like
Yeah,
it-
yeah, yeah.
It's just like
And
so many things are you just like fucking hands up.
so the things I've been rushing with this particular build to make it like viable in my head is I've been killing all the enemies that I feel like I can kill in hopes of getting chem fluids and herbs. I think in this fight here I've got 15 health vials. and I've also rushed the food as soon as the Duke had it available. I rushed particularly the block defense things, so I've got
I,
all
I
of the block defense available.
I imagine you'd be able to like upgrade and buy more medicine because you're able to like sell the fucking ammo that you're getting, right?
The Duke's a bitch,
Does he
and
not?
he
Does
only
he not buy them?
he has one in stock at 4 points in the game. You can only buy 4 medicines off of him
What
throughout
an
the course of the
asshole!
game. Like, look, yeah. So I've been selling stuff, and I'm probably going to spend that money to upgrade like a few weapons to max to get all their
Yeah.
attachments and stuff, because that's how you can unlock infinite ammo post game. But yeah, it's going surprisingly a lot better than expected. I had a bit of trouble in the castle while I was still trying to figure out how this knife worked, because its hitbox is fucking wonky. If
Did
you
you-
angle it and swing through properly, you can actually get 2 dinks per swing with this knife. So,
You
Did,
watching?
did you kill? Did you kill mine and pork chops wives already?
oh yeah,
I hate you.
they're gone baby gone. I
I
killed
hate
Big
you.
Mommy Milkers too.
Oh,
Dude, watching you go
Uh,
through that very first part where it's just a time where you just have to like survive with the very beginning of that with that lichen.
Yeah, that was the hardest part so far
Fucking-
because
dude, you went downstairs so many times and got trapped in that fucking little hallway or the
yeah,
little like
man, they would
underground.
fucking jump down the ladder behind me, and then
Uh.
there was a guy cucking me at the fucking exit. And the game doesn't let you go from sprint to crouch. Anytime you hit sprint, you immediately stand up. So it was a mechanical issue on that part as well. But
You would think like
that
you,
was the hardest part of the game so far, was that intro segment.
through all of this you'd be able to fucking slide, but I guess not, right? You could, you know.
No Apex sliding as of right yet.
Ethan can literally attach his hand back on with a little spritz of fucking medicine, but he can't
Yeah.
do fucking baseball man slides.
Nope, can't
Yeah,
slide.
it's
He's got
it's the
delicate
mold
knees, man.
tightening the joints.
Delicate knees. So
Had a couple knee surgeries, you know. He's an old man.
yeah.
But yeah, the run's going a
Interesting.
lot of it's really well. I ended last night's stream on this fight. I'm going to try and get a small stream up tomorrow to finish it. If not, I will be the first thing I do when I get back from vacation.
Cool. That's awesome. Have fun with it, man. It's been enjoyable watching you play it for sure.
I'm glad it's been fun watching. I wasn't sure what kind of intrigue there would be watching me just spend 5 minutes knifing like a fish in the face.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing is that it lets you, for me at least, it's allows me to like, because you spending more time on the boss, I get to like look around, I get to like see things that I didn't see in the first playthrough and stuff like that, which is enjoyable. So,
Yeah,
you know,
good deal.
Get to see Big Mommy Milkers more.
I don't give a fuck about Big Mommy Milkers. Jesus Christ, man.
Fun fact: nothing changes about the dollhouse. It's still as sketchy as
dollhouse,
it was
bro.
the first time.
I never watched
As a-
that, and I refuse to watch it. I will never watch that. Fuck
It's
that
the
house.
only non-combat segment of the game.
I don't give a
but
shit.
It is still as sketchy the second time as it was the first time. Like, yeah, yeah.
Fuck that doll. Fuck everything about it. Burn it with fire, hellfire, holy hellfire.
Cool. So yes, that's games that we've been playing, guys. That kind of wraps up that section. And now we get to move into the news.
The fun shit.
Yeah,
The new shit.
and there's a lot of stuff to go through here. I'm actually going to start off with the Path of Exile stuff because it actually happened today. And so Path of Exile released their new expansion or league, which is called Expedition. And then they also announced Battle Royale. And so what you're seeing right now is and again, I understand for people that are viewing or listening, you're not gonna be able to see on here, but it's basically the trailer for the new league. But if you're
What
unfamiliar,
you're saying is they're out of ideas, so they're cash grabbing battle royale like everybody else does.
So at first I fucking laughed about it, right? But before I get into Battle Royale, like, and I showed that and we discussed that, let me talk about what we saw here. Did you guys watch or any of this or like go through or look at any
No.
of this stuff? Okay.
I don't follow Path of Exile too
I'm
much.
not really
So-
a big fan of Path.
Normally I don't either because again I'm not a fan of just like
Nobody
how
loves VR.
how much shit is in there. Well, I just watched it because I want to keep up with gaming news mainly, right? And I also
Yeah.
I love myself some action RPGs. I mean, if you know me, Stevens in chat knows me very, very well. I am a huge fan of action RPGs. And anyway, so I wanted to watch what their new stuff was, and I always am intrigued because this is a game that is completely free to play. And is pretty much wiping the floor with any Diablo, or really any other kind of action RPG out there when it comes to from a like how much content is out for it. The thing about it that is that's kind of crazy is that it is, and what keeps me away is how much stuff there. They just like they don't ever fucking do it. Like it's just more and more and more and more shit, right? They don't ever take any of it away. So it's I don't know. It has like a very big learning curve. What got me interested, and I actually may jump back into PoE on this one, is because they came out and basically said, we are, we stacked this game since early access, right? And we really have been worrying about content. Well, now it's time to actually handle player creep, power creep, to handle a lot of this other kind of stuff. And they are, they're really going back and they're like, look, like we're nerfing some shit. Like we're going in and we're nerfing things. We're reworking things. We're retooling things. We're
I don't like that, man.
Well, so I understand to a point, and the stuff that they talked about with their nerfing, I like get. Basically what they were saying is like, look, like everybody that plays this game goes through and basically just plows through the story just to get the in-game content or whatever and to do the mapping stuff. But what we're doing is we're making it to where the game feels still, you can still go through it and, pretty, not easily what he said, but he basically said like, look, like you can go through it, but we want to make it feel more threatening if you're, starting off like you should be, like you're a new character. You're like, you should not be able to just go through and just plow through shit or whatever. So, there were talks about like how they're reworking, like making it so the character or the monsters in the very beginning are going to move faster and they're going to come like this video is not very long, so I'm just going to go ahead and go to the fucking battle royale one. But it's where
you can put the videos on loop. Just right click it and loop it.
Loop the video. Where can I do loop? Here we go. Cool. Awesome. I'll just loop the video. So anyway, it becomes like a thing where they're moving faster and stuff like that against you. But it's I don't know. It's really interesting. They're doing a lot of cool stuff, and this new expansion that they're talking about doing is basically this kind of system where you go in and you set down these mines and blow up this field. And what you blow up will like unlock like chests, and you can kind of time like your stuff. Like it's they always do very intricate league systems with it. But I can tell you right now, chat was fucking flaming, man. They were fucking pissed about some stuff that they were talking about.
I mean, it's nerfs, man. Like that's one thing I can't be a proponent for nerfs. Like I buff everything
Especially
else.
in a PvE game.
Yeah, buff everything else. Don't fucking nerf shit. Like I've never understood. I get that they want people to go in and take their time on the story, but that's not why people are playing action RPGs. Nobody fucking plays an action RPG for the story these
Get to
days.
the end game as quick
Well,
as possible.
yeah. I mean, but I don't think it's necessarily that you're following the storyline. It's just you're understanding like it's just a difficulty level thing. It's not about like, and I don't think
Yeah,
it's gonna
but
be
even with the difficulty level and even anything like that, like the entire reason why you're playing an action RPG is for the power game, the power feel. You're playing it to get to a point where you're like, I am legitimately running through these things because I'm so powerful. That's why you play ARPGs essentially. And to nerf shit, it always pisses me off, especially with like Diablo. Diablo always did it, where they just nerf complete fucking builds, and you just be like, well, there goes my entire fucking reason for playing the game.
Again,
it's the same thing with Outriders. What Outriders did with them, and what basically lost them the will of their community, was they first patch came out and it was nothing but nerfs because people were going through the game too fast, when that's the fucking point of these games.
The nerfs that he talked about during the announcement, from what I gathered, it was not like they're nerfing an entire like a one build and then they're buffing other builds or whatever. It was more around like the fact of tweaking things that they felt broke the game or needed to be like that was kind of overlooked. That basically the community found ways to break shit, and so they were like, this needs to be like dialed in, right?
Yeah, but who is that? Who is that breaking shit hurting?
Well,
If you don't want to break shit, you don't use those builds.
one of
If
the
you do want to break shit,
one of the things one of the things he talked about though was like this fact of like these people were bitching because they had to pick up so many different currencies, but like what they were doing and they didn't see it as like, oh, this was what was like people would do was basically like there was like modifiers that you could attach to then like do a support modifier over here, then they would attach another modifier, and then it would attach like for every single rare monster that you spawned, it would drop you 3 extra loots. But then like they would find a way to be able to have the map drop nothing but rare monsters, and then they're bitching because they had to pick up 700 pieces of like like um currencies or whatever. And so he's like, those are the kind of things that like we never thought that were going to happen or whatever. So like we are fine tuning it. We're adjusting those kind of things because you know, and people were pissed. People were just like, what the fuck? But he's like, well, okay, well, what do you want?
What do you want? Yeah.
Like,
well, that's one thing that like I think they need to understand, and that's one thing that a lot of game companies need to understand is like you can't please everybody. Like if there's always going to be one subsection of your player base that's going to be bitching and complaining.
yeah,
You can't please everybody. But essentially with the problem that I have with it, and again, I have to take my own words. You can't please anybody or everybody, and you know if they want to fucking nerf their shit, they can't please me because that's one thing that I can't stand by. But like you can't base your entire game off of what everybody else is complaining about. Like at a certain point, you have to be like, you're doing this to yourself. We never intended it to be that way. Fuck off. Deal
Right.
with it.
right.
yeah,
No,
it's just I'm with you on that one. It's the same thing as like Borderlands. Borderlands is really bad
Yeah.
about at the launch of their games. There's a few builds that are completely fucking broken. They'll eviscerate a boss in like 3 seconds, and then
Yeah.
they'll nerf it so that it's not a viable play style anymore.
yeah. I mean, well, they definitely said that they were like, they're not nerfing things to where it's not viable. Like the whole thing is about it is like the game is built to supposed to be where it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be, you know, you are supposed to feel powerful, right?
Yeah.
But they're making it to where it's something where it's just not, this is the one build that you do and that's it, right? Like that's not, they're trying to fix, I think that, and then also to fix the reality of like the game being, from what I was told, or what it sounded like was also to like them basically saying, hey, we're making this for people where if you don't want to fucking do in-game maps, you don't have to do in-game maps, but you can still become, you know, have that power, you know, fantasy stuff. Because that was also a thing for me. Like I was just
That's
like,
good.
I get to the in-game and I'm like, I don't want to fucking sit here and do maps. Like that's not what I
Yeah.
want to do. And so like they're basically now turning it and saying, hey, all these extra things that are coming on there, if you don't want to play this, you don't have to. If you want to do this, you can, and you can still get cool shit from doing this you know, way or whatever. So it's, I don't know. It may maybe I may go back and actually give it a shot and give it a try.
I will agree with you. The one thing that I've always not enjoyed about Path of Exile, and the one thing that has always like kind of made me shy away from it is just how much shit there is. There's
So
just
much,
like
man.
they continuously, you know, year after year after year, league after league after league, they continuously add new shit, and that's a good thing. That's
And
an
it's
amazing
for
thing
free,
that they have.
which is
That they have all of that for free. The problem is that at a certain point, you're just like, where
it's
the
so
fuck do I
dense,
start?
man. It's
What the
dense.
fuck is this? Why is there like 18 different currencies that I have no fucking clue why is it dropping? I don't understand what to do with it. There's no fucking explanation in your game what to do with it because it was a league from 6 years ago.
Now you know how I feel about solo.
Yeah, I mean,
But no, and this league does look interesting. But to move on, they also announced this, which is their battle royale mode.
I can't believe that they announced a battle royale.
Okay, well,
in
hold on. So-
Like I said,
2024.
they're out of ideas.
No,
They're
no, no,
scraping
no,
the
no, no, no.
bottom of the
Hold
barrel.
on, hold on
it's
one
like
second.
crap.
Fuck.
You know how evolution everything goes back to crab?
Yeah.
In game evolution everything goes to battle royale.
Do you
It's the inevitable way of things.
Okay, so
This is the crab of the gaming world.
they're wrong, chat.
Only not
By the
as
way,
delicious.
all of our listeners are right. He's wrong. Okay, so one, this came out as a fucking April Fool's joke 2 years ago, or 2018. This came out as an April Fool's joke because everybody was jumping on the BR bandwagon, and they were like, you know what? I bet we could do a BR in one day. And they basically put their staff and was like, I don't know. They took a handful of people and were like, and he explained it. I think it was a week. I think he said, you know, we could build a BR in a week. And so they were like, if you want to do it, do it. If not, we don't care and whatever. And so they came out with this April Fool's joke, and it was there for like 3 days. And so then, is this looping another fucking?
It's looping the original one that you had.
Why is it looping that?
I don't know. It's a good question.
There we go. It should now loop that. But anyway, they had it. It was successful. People loved it, and they took it away. And they're like, and people were like, why is this not back? Like, where is this at? And so now they are bringing it back. They're doing
That's good.
they're doing it it's open for a weekend, every weekend, just to see if it is actually going to thing. And this is them talking about it like it was an actual April Fool's thing. But like it's going to be back every weekend from here on out until they figure out if it's something that they actually want to do or not.
Interesting.
Or whatever. But it's different, man. From what I've watched, it's very fucking different. Like it's like it's an action RPG in a battle royale.
It's a PvEVP.
Yeah.
PvX.
So yes. So you level up, and then you have like skill points, but like and they like built a system that's around like that makes it so you can like level up and see what you're doing at the same time. Like, I don't know, man. It's really interesting, and it's like really just seems kind of quirky and weird, but like there's skill based, there's skills that you can put points into, or you can grab, and like gems you can pick up and flasks and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't know, man. I'm gonna give this a shot because again, this is just something that is weird and quirky, and I love action RPGs, so I'm interested.
Fun with that.
Yeah,
I will give it the benefit that they didn't have a game mode, take it away, and then try to sell it off later as something different. Like
Yeah, no.
what Ubisoft
Like
did.
Seed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. So if you're interested in playing it, it's free. Like I said, you just pick it up, and it's part of Path of Exile, and it's going on right now through the weekend. That's their leveling tree system or whatever else. But it's running now until the weekend's over, and then it'll kick back in next weekend. So
It's pretty neat.
yeah, I mean, hey, why not? You know, again, it's a different take on a battle royale. At least it's not like the everything else. So
It's just another one of those things though that I'm looking at it like Path of Exile is like everything. Like they are everything, and it just
Jack of all trades,
compounds
master of
one
none.
on top of another. Yeah, it just compounds one on top of another on top of another. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, when are you gonna stop? Just stop at ARPG. You're an ARPG.
I mean, if it works for him, it works for him, right? Like, why not? man?
I guess.
I mean,
from
it
a
works for
marketing
'em,
aspect,
100%.
I get that it'll bring players in, and I don't know. Any game that isn't like a battle royale from launch that adds a battle royale mode, it always sings to me that player numbers are dropping. We need to bring in the fucking kids.
PoE's player numbers is
'Cause
not dropping.
Kids love battle royales.
Yeah, but this is not going to draw in the fucking Fortnites and the Call
Yeah.
of Duties and the whatever else. Like this will draw in someone like Enigma, maybe, who would be like, oh, action RPG, and this is some different style. Like whatever, yeah, give it a shot. Fuck it, you know what I mean?
By the
like,
way, numbers are dropping.
well, numbers of everything drop eventually, but I'm just saying, like, it's not dropping to the point where they're
like big drop. They went from 155 peak player, 155,000 peak players in April to the last 30 days. They've only had 17,000.
Yeah,
peak
it's
players.
their-
So they are taking a big hit over the summer.
that's their league though. They're if you look at their numbers historically, it always
Yeah,
does that.
it's the same 3-month cycle.
Yeah.
I do see that, but this is one of the bigger hits that I've seen. I'm looking back through the last year, and the only lower point that they had, actually, they've never had a lower point than this. I'm going all the way back into 2017. They've never had a concurrent player or a peak player number this low before. So
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not saying that they are.
bring in the kids.
They're not going to bring in a bunch of people with battle royale. That's not. I don't think that's their purpose here. I just think it's something the community asked for, and they were like, "Oh yeah, sure, fine, fuck it, whatever." You know.
Maybe they'll get Ninja to play.
Yeah, right. Okay. So, anyway, so yeah, moving on from that, there has been a shit ton of other stuff. So, in talking about numbers dropping, and in talking about things, taking a hit, let's talk about the biggest one. Let's talk about good old WoW. Let's talk about World of Warcraft. So, raise your hand if you know what happened over the last couple days or weeks.
I'm raising my hand.
Enigma, you're up.
Yeah, go ahead,
It's
take it on.
good times, man. Like I'm actually I'm excited, man. Like we've been asking for a MMO to kill WoW for ages, and it came to turn out that WoW
It's gonna
killed
kill itself.
themselves.
I mean, we all knew WoW was killing itself slowly but
Yeah.
surely. But this one, they fucking just gutted it.
It's terrible, man. Like they've been going downhill for a long time, and like there's been signs on the horizon for ages recently with a lot of their high ups and a lot of their skilled developers kind of leaving and starting their own companies. It's a bad place over there in Blizzard right now from everything that I've heard. Like morale is very low. You know, fucking Activision is tightening that noose just ever so slightly every day, inch by inch by inch, and finally it's just become one of those things where it's like it's done. People are done with it. People are tired of the same bullshit, and they're starting to move to other MMOs. What's the next best MMO on the horizon?
Sword of Legends
is
Online.
doing well. So Sword of Legends, of course. No, it's Final Fantasy 14, and with the next expansion coming up for Final Fantasy 14, like it's the best time to get into the game right now. And
Yeah,
I think
for
a
sure.
lot of people are starting to see that, and they're like, with the thing that makes me laugh is the simple fact that when Asmongold moved over, which that's a huge statement right there, right? Asmongold moving to another fucking MMO. Asmongold is WoW's golden boy, right? Like he's always been WoW's golden boy. They might not like him, but he's always been their golden boy. And with him moving, it brought a lot of.
They called him a
attention.
shithead. One of their developers called him a
Yeah.
fucking shithead.
Yeah. It brought a shit ton of attention to the world for Final Fantasy 14.
Oh, on Twitter,
And
by the way.
honestly, the wildest thing about that move is that we were all skeptical with him coming over and the community coming over and that kind of thing. It doesn't seem to have really negatively affected the
I have numbers.
environment other than things being flooded.
I have
I
numbers.
wouldn't say that.
I know that's not
Yeah.
true. I have numbers. Just
ahead.
a couple things. One, so aside from the numbers, like part of like they had to actually temporarily stopped sales of their digital copies, which is
They didn't temporarily stop it. They ran out of it.
okay.
There was no temporarily stopping it. They ran out
it.
of keys. They ran out of keys for the generation.
But the thing, so they did actually run into it, and there was, I don't know if I put it on here, if I linked it on here or not. I don't think I did, but they actually banned. They have put in a new thing in place because of him. Because what is happening is people are, and his community is notorious for this. Like his community, and he talked about it on Allcraft today. His community, he's not toxic. His community is fucking toxic.
They stream snipe him and just romp around
And
in
like
a mass around him.
Yeah, and block the screen and fucking disrupt basically the game, right? And they have banned 2,124 accounts from his server, from people that are doing this shit. Basically getting on a mount, blocking stuff, stream sniping him, or just in general causing problems in the world, right? And that's something that WoW has never done. Like Blizzard has never given a fuck about those kind of things. And that was the thing that I was interested in being like, because Final Fantasy, you can't even say something, well, you can, but like they are strict about like keeping the game wholesome and keeping the game true to what it is in that community.
It's not even really wholesome. It's just being respectful.
Well, yeah.
To
It's a
the other
respect thing, yeah.
players. It's not. It has nothing to do. You can be as raunchy and shitty as you want.
I meant
to,
wholesome, like not being toxic is what I'm talking about.
if you start causing like actual toxicity and start disrespecting people, like the fucking community doesn't take it, man.
Yeah.
Like 100%.
And so within literal, like from what it said on here, minutes, I probably doubt it was minutes, but I would say probably within an hour or two, these accounts were being banned. People jumping in front of the, in front of him, or like just again being
and stuff.
People that were giving him money, like literally flooding him with stuff over and over again. They basically came out and said, stop. I mean, that's gonna be something that I don't know how they're gonna curtail that, but like this was like flooding, and he said like I don't want it. I don't want all this shit. I want to experience the game as it is. And they came in and fucking said, okay, boom, cut it down. Like if it's a problem, whatever else, we're gonna take care of it.
It's like I said when you guys started playing 14. Like I the number one thing that I said multiple times was don't be a dick. Don't be doing shit to people to negatively impact their fucking play style or their gameplay, right?
Yeah.
Because they will ban you. They have no
yeah.
issue with it. They're like, you're paying us a monthly subscription. We don't give a fuck. Get out of here. You're not.
Right. So I mean, that's what I was impressed with, was that like they
Yeah.
are curtailing his community.
Square's doing very well.
And on top of that, like the news here is again, they ran out of digital copies. Like
Not only ran out of digital copies, they ran out of digital copies, and you were unable to create a character on any NA server for like 2 days.
yeah, like it's nuts, man.
Any NA server, none of them. Like in any of the clusters, anywhere you couldn't create a character.
Well,
Like-
and that
like
was
toward-
that was the thing.
supposedly.
That was the thing that's crazy to me too, is that you're talking about a game that literally goes in and says, you know what? We're going to shut shit down until we can make sure that our core player base, the people that are already paying for the game that have been here or whatever else, are not going to have any fucking issues. We're going to make sure that our servers, our shit, and everything can handle that load. They can't even fucking do that on launches. Like WoW can't even do that now with like a fucking TBC. Like Jesus Christ, man. Like, it's impressive. Like it is very much impressive, and like we've all said it before. Like, and Enigma has been a proponent of Final Fantasy for the longest fucking time. But like, and it's not even just that Asmongold came. It's not even that the OTK crew came. It's the trickle effect. If you look at like all of the streamers that came over, like it's not like Asmongold caused a ripple effect that pulled all of these streamers from WoW to come over. Like, if I was Activision, I'm going, what the fuck?
It's crazy to me
will-
because they Yoshi
they
P and the devs came out with a dev diary recently, and I said in the podcast chat, they, according to Yoshi P and the devs, FF14 is currently at 22.2 million registered users, and that was as of the 13th. And
Yeah.
they're saying that they're expecting by November to hit over 30 million.
Yeah. To answer your question, Bill, no, they won't. They won't care. Like Activision.
No,
won't give a
I
shit.
was gonna say that keep in mind that WoW is still the number one MMO in the world at this time. It still has the
I
highest.
don't know about that.
I'm on MMO population tracker right now. It's WoW, RuneScape, D2, and then
Wow,
Final Fantasy
RuneScape.
14.
Holy shit.
Old school RuneScape specifically, not modern RuneScape.
Well,
Yeah.
that thing can be played on fucking my
And then
Nokia
WoW
phone.
Classic is behind Final Fantasy 14. So WoW is still there. They're still in the game, but they have stagnated. They have, in the last 30 days, they have had a 0.5% population increase. So they are not.
It's
they're
getting to
not
the point
gaining people right now.
I've heard some reports that it's getting to the point where like they just released their new patch, right? Like this new patch that brought out a new raid or a new raid boss of some sort. I can't remember what it was, but their guilds are having issues with actually like clearing it. There's only like two or three guilds so far that have cleared it
That's wild.
globally.
And people just don't care to gear up and try
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
There's
It's
no
it's
groups around to do
either
it.
people don't gear up to try for it, or there's no groups around to do it, or there's just nobody's willing to do
Yeah.
it.
I mean, we've been saying this for
Yeah.
years, and they I mean, they just don't give a shit. And here's the thing that I respect about Square too, is that Square came out with this, and they basically said like, look, what matters to us is our core. Like everybody, all of these new people coming in, like we love them, we whatever, but we're not going to sit here and pander to Asmongold and to whatever. Like our core is what's important, and that's what we care about. Like you guys are all coming here, great, have a good time, but you're gonna respect what we fucking do. Like that to me is amazing.
And legitimately, the one thing I can say about this whole thing is like it's nice to see that Final Fantasy is getting its recognition that it's due. But the thing that I will say is like I don't think it's a long-term thing.
Nah, it won't stay.
As soon as Ashes of Creation comes out, their beta, probably more than half those people are going to be going to.
I
Ashes
think
of Creation.
I think the positive is that you will see an influx. You're seeing the influx of new people, right? And I still think with
And then
anything
the ones that
churn,
stick around are
right?
going to be
You'll s-
impassioned
yeah,
by
you'll
the
see
project.
a good amount of people that will stick around. You'll see a good amount of people that will get integrated into the community because they enjoy what they see and they enjoy the gameplay and they enjoy the game for what it is. But these fly by night people, and you know, I don't want to sound like an asshole, but I don't think that Asmongold's going to stick to it. I don't think that
He
he'll
won't.
turn it into a new main game.
I don't think Co Carnage will either.
None of
No,
these big
Code didn't
streamers.
want to. Code didn't want to play it in the first place. He did it because of a challenge,
He
but
did it for
he's
charity
enjoying.
goal,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's enjoying it, but he still did it for a challenge. So
None of these big streamers, I think, will stick around, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. I just like the fact that it's finally getting some actual recognition from like WoW players.
well, I think that you'll have people like, I think that I do think he'll go all the way through to the end, and I think that he will do Endwalker, right? Like I
I'm
think
sure he will, but I don't think that what I'm saying is I don't think he'll make it a mainstay. I never think that, or I don't think that he will never. I don't think that he will ever make Final Fantasy his main game like he had WoW.
I don't know, man. Maybe. I, I don't know.
I just don't
I know
see
that
him
he's playing it
go back.
offline. I know he's playing it off stream, and I know he's playing it on his secondary account that not a lot of people know about.
I will also say that he has taken a bit of a viewer hit from switching off of WoW, from what I've noticed.
I haven't.
I've heard.
The motherfucker was at 212K yesterday. He ain't taking a viewer hit for shit.
I
So-
thought he was taking a viewer hit from it.
No,
he usually only got like
he averaged. Trust me. I watched. I have to watch his numbers all the time for my job, but like, he averaged anywhere between 40 to 80K, right? Like that was his kind of average for CCV. Since moving over and trying Final Fantasy, he has averaged anywhere from 101 all the way up to 212. His average is around 110. That's his average CCV.
Wild. Okay, my bad. That was misinformation on my part.
Now again, if he mainstays it and keeps it, will he still have all of that? I don't think he'll go down. He won't go below 40 like ever. Like I mean, the guy is actually, he is entertaining. He is a good, like, I enjoy watching his streams. You know, he is smart, like, and he is intelligent.
his community.
Yeah, his community. I fucking disable chat because I don't give a shit about his chat. But like,
Okay,
yeah.
so what I was hearing was it's starting to decline from the peak like hype of him switching over.
Yeah,
He's
I
already
can
starting
see
to hit
that.
like average viewer hits from that initial. So that was where I was hearing that from.
Well,
But he's still averaging more than what he was prior to hopping over.
Yeah.
You got to remember that initial like 200K is just people being like, holy shit, WoW streamer man is playing Final Fantasy. What the fuck is going on right now?
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
Yeah. All right, we got to burn through some other stuff, guys. We got a lot of topics to talk about.
Let's do the stream deck.
Yeah.
Also, make sure if you have questions, put them in the chat.
Yes, please
That
put
too.
that in chat. We are probably gonna go slightly over here, guys. But Steam Deck. So Steam announced a new product. I don't actually. Can I? Let me see if I can show. You know what? I can't. It's gonna take too much for me to show it. But Steam announced a product called the Steam Deck. Not the Stream Deck. The Steam Deck, and basically it is a Steam OS handheld computer. I mean, it's essentially it starts at $400. It's powered by AMD, and it is got a 7-inch rectangular screen. Does 1280 by 800 touch. It's a touch screen with trackpads, like the Steam controller, and full analog. Has access directly into your SteamOS library. They start off at 64 gigs and go all the way up to 512 gigs. Now the 64 gig is $400, which is not badly priced, honestly. I mean, that's not a bad price for what it is. The higher versions go all the way up to 700, I believe. Let me double check.
650.
Yeah, it's
650. Yeah, 650 for the higher one.
to be completely honest, like I think that this is a better bang for your buck than the Nintendo Switch. You have the entire Steam library at
Yeah,
your disposal.
I
So-
understand it.
There's pros and cons to it. I've done a little bit of comparative research to it. The biggest flaw with this Steam Deck that I'm seeing currently is its resolution cap. It does hold a stable 60 frames through all Steam games, but its resolution capped at like 800p,
Yeah,
I think.
it's not
Yeah,
gonna
but
go
what's
lower.
what's the resolution cap on the what's it called?
900p, it's
Yeah.
negligible. So
It's like negligible between the two.
Well, the difference is too.
Yeah.
Also, you have to understand when you're talking about resolutions. A 1080p on a 1440p screen large looks like shit. 1080p
Like
on a fucking cell phone screen looks
It's
gorgeous,
amazing.
right? So 1800 on a 7-inch screen is gonna look real good. Like
Oh,
it-
crisp.
my thing is I want to see how the frame rate stabilizes out.
Yeah.
I want to see if because that's the biggest flaw with the Switch is the processor that they have in it, the graphics card that they have in it cannot handle a stable 30 frames per second on a lot of games. You ever tried to play Apex Legends on the Switch, Sinan?
No, I'm not gonna do that. Why would I ever do that?
It's a horrible experience. You drop down to like 15, 10 frames during like high intensity fights. Bangalore throws down her ult. Good luck.
This thing has a ability to plug into a display port. It has a
Yeah.
display port
It
on it
does.
up to 8K at 60 hertz. What the fuck? And
And
4K
it
at
has
220. It's crazy.
it has ports also for like alternative gamepads, so
Yeah,
you can have
controllers
like
and
a
yeah.
fight stick and stuff
Yeah.
that you can hook into it.
Did I see that you could upgrade the memory by buying
Yeah.
SanDisk memory disks?
Yeah. Yeah, micro,
That's
It
that's
is-
crazy to me, dude.
micro SD. So
Because literally, you could pay the $3.99 for the base level, go and buy a fucking cheap like $50 fucking SanDisk extendable disc, and have the
I would
have the seven the 650 version.
to me but the difference is when you go to the 650 you're getting an NVMe SSD drive, so it's gonna load
Yeah.
faster.
The mid range one has the SSD as well. It's only the base model that doesn't have an
Gotcha.
SSD in it.
The thing here, right, is it's are they allowing for is this just for download games though? You're not, I don't think you can stream them to it, right? Like it's only downloadable games, correct?
Yeah,
Right
you
now-
have
right
to
now.
download the game onto the system to be able to play it. You can't.
Really?
It doesn't pull from. I don't believe
I don't think it's
it
pulling
pulls
from
from
a
a cloud. I
cloud.
don't see anywhere where it's saying that it pulls from a cloud.
I think that if they don't do that and they don't utilize the Steam cloud or whatever it is, the Steam streaming service that they got, that's a terrible idea.
I think they will eventually, but right now it's just pure downloading.
Once you're logged into your Steam Deck, your entire Steam library shows up just like any other PC. You'll be able to find your collection and favorites exactly where you left them, but it still looks like you need to download it down to the console itself.
That's crazy.
Like I said, I'm sure that will change, but I would rather them start off this way and then get the Steam Cloud shit working properly than to launch with it, because that could kill it, right? Like if it's just like
The thing that like shocked me is that like on one of their promos they have Jedi Fallen Order or whatever it is, the
Yeah.
Star Wars one from EA. That you have to launch EA's launcher to play that on Steam, don't you?
not anymore.
Did they fix that?
Yeah.
Because like when I purchased it, you still had to launch EA's launcher.
No,
And that was not that long ago. That
they
was, like,
went through whenever EA Play was, when they opened up EA Play on the on Steam, they changed all of that to where you don't have to launch it through EA.
interesting.
Um,
I wonder if Final Fantasy 14 would be available to play on it since you have to. Load
I
up,
imagine,
like-
man.
I would hope so.
maybe I'll play
Because
Final
I've been
Fantasy 14 on the
thinking of
go.
ways because I would play a shit ton more of the
course.
games that I have on
Of-
my
of-
like on my Steam list if I had the ability to not sit at my computer and do it.
Of
I
course,
actually
the-
thought
the
about getting
problem-
that like that adapter that hooks into the TV.
The problem with Final Fantasy 14 though is that you do have to log in with a separate launcher.
Yeah, that was my
So-
concern is if it was going to have the ability for you to log in that way.
I'd be
Like
interested to see if
I'm
you could do that.
assuming that this
There's
thing
no way
is
Final
going to
Fantasy
have some sort
14
of browser
you need it.
functionality.
You'd have to fucking how big is Final Fantasy 14? You'd have to have
like-
one hell of an SSD.
Like 80 gigs or something like that, somewhere
Yeah.
around there.
I guess you could put it on the base thing.
Not
I
that
mean,
big. Yeah.
and that's the biggest thing is that a lot of these a lot of these games, man. Some of these games are fucking 90 gigs. Like
Yeah.
these things are
You're
big.
definitely not gonna be installing fucking Call of Duty on it for
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, I don't know. It's for me. I could care, like I saw it. I was like, oh, this is cool. Like leave it to Valve. Valve always is just like, fuck it. We'll throw.
Figured it out.
Yeah, we'll do some
You
shit.
you can't stream games. It does have remote play.
It does have remote play.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, I was about to say
s-
like there's no way that they have that fucking technology and they're not
Yeah,
utilizing
stream
it
games
in
from
some
your home
way.
PC directly to the deck, no matter where you are. So,
there you go.
boom.
I mean,
and,
you
and cloud
technically-
save, so You don't
Technically,
need to.
at that point, you could technically play Final Fantasy 14 on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, just log in from
Just log
your
in from your PC.
yeah, and cloud saves. So
Interesting.
that's a breath of fresh air. I've been looking for that for like the past 2 minutes trying to figure something out because that would have been a big misplay if they didn't have that.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I was thinking as well. Is like for them not to utilize that is just a terrible idea on their part.
Unfortunately, I don't travel enough for this to be useful. So, I mean, I for anybody that's going to grab it, I think it's an awesome piece of hardware. I want to see hands on first before I say that.
So do I. Yeah.
I need
That's my
hands
big
on.
thing. It needs to hold a 60 stable on all games. Like I'm just gonna go ahead and say at 800p, you need to be able to keep a stable 60 frames per second. I think it should be able to, but that's gonna be my make or break. I've already talked to Britt that if the tech showcase shows good for this, I am going to get one. It's all basing on that.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll have to wait for hands on. So burning through a couple of these real quick things. Minecraft is now rated R in South Korea. I don't know why. But apparently, like, they said that let's see, it comes down to the country's Cinderella law, which pulls the plug on any child or teen hoping to play games with their mates into the early hours of the morning. The law has been in place for since 2011 and means anyone under the age of 16 is prohibited from playing online video games between midnight and 6 a.m.
That's actually pretty standard for Korea in general. In Korea and a lot of Asian Eastern countries. Well, it's not just they hold pretty strict laws. It's that like literally if they don't do that for their citizens, they will play until they die.
Yeah, but that's their they're right. Well, I guess maybe not. I don't know. Hey, but yeah. Anyway, that's weird. So yeah. So Minecraft is now rated R. I mean, there you go. I'm gonna go tell my kid he can't play Minecraft anymore because it's rated R. The Witcher 3 is getting some new DLC that is going to be free. It's going to be based off the Netflix show.
Make a new fucking game.
Yeah.
I think they are.
Well,
are they?
I think there's been rumors of a Witcher 4 that's featuring like Ciri as the main protagonist. So
that would be the route I would go. I'm happy that they're making another DLC. I don't like The Witcher 3 that much. I'm not a big fan of
you shut your fucking whore mouth right fucking now.
Listen. I don't like playing it. I love watching it. The story, the narrative, the like world building is top tier. I just didn't enjoy the combat.
It's like me with Resident Evil 8. I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
So.
But I'm glad they're making a new DLC for it. I think making a DLC for a game this old is a little weird, but
I think that is a way to get some good graces back into them with what's going on with Cyberpunk. And I
don't know if they can get good graces with that, man.
I think they can do some diversion.
And this is Netflix partnered, correct?
It's based on a Netflix show. So
gotcha.
Based on the books.
Yep. And it's also too because I think also is because the game is coming to PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. So they're doing a next gen update and PC. I don't know. I guess they're gonna up-res it even more. I don't know. Okay. But
interesting.
Yeah, it'll have DLC content based on the Netflix series. So
little side moment that I want to ask you guys is Netflix has been going into the gamer space a lot more recently. Do you think that's a good or a bad thing for like games overall? Because I hear a few people that are speculative or skeptical that Netflix is potentially going to ruin franchises by trying to get like licensing rights, and basically it'll make it so that if a game sells well, you're not going to get a sequel, you're going to get a movie.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that.
I don't think that's
they did that. They did it with I think the biggest problem with Netflix is the fact that when they get a hold of these new IPs from video games, they try and change them to a point for diversity's sake, and it's not going to work when it comes to gaming and gamers, because we are so used to the set version of what we've had for years, and when they try and change it, it's just like it's
Look
like
what they do with
they
Marvel, and it's
clash
fucking
heads.
bash.
You know?
It's blowing up Marvel. I mean, Marvel's not
Yeah. Yeah.
having a great time with that right now. So,
Marvel's getting fucking their shit pushed in between Black Widow and Loki.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. Maybe they should just
But yeah.
leave shit the way it should be.
That's the biggest issue that I have with Netflix is they can't just leave shit alone. They have to do diversity bullshit. They have to do woke politics on it. And you know, call me a fucking boomer, but if it fucking works, leave it the fuck alone.
Yeah,
I don't understand why you got to change everything.
The only game-related thing I think Netflix has done exceptionally well on was the Castlevania anime. I think that's
The Witcher was great. The Witcher was great.
I was about to say I will say Witcher was good, but it took
yeah,
a
but
lot
Witcher's
of work.
I don't consider that the base like I consider that more based off the literature.
They
than the
they
game
didn't
itself.
base it off of the actual game exactly, and that's one good thing. But on the other hand, is again it comes down to that same the same thing that I said. They did try and change a lot of things, and the gamers and the people that have been Witcher fans for a very long time were just like, no, don't do that, because if you change it, you're destroying fucking years and years of people's understanding of what the fucking show is and game is.
They also did a good job with the Dota anime. That was actually really good.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's actually really good. During my anime watching,
worse than what the WoW movie was.
Okay, the WoW movie was. I like the WoW movie.
That bad, man.
I didn't have a problem with the WoW movie.
Everybody says the WoW movie was terrible.
So,
I'm like, it wasn't great in comparison, but most people were thinking, oh, I'm going to get a
than,
yeah,
movie.
I didn't have a problem with it at all. I liked it.
Better than Monster Hunter, I suppose.
Yeah, but okay, Okay, I actually watched Monster Hunter. It's bad, but it's also like Resident Evil levels of like
way, yeah.
Like I enjoy. I did not go into that being like I'm gonna get fucking Monster Hunter. I went into it be like I'm gonna get a huge pile of dog shit, but I'm gonna enjoy every fucking moment of it.
I went there expecting Monster Hunter, not tanks and fucking
that's
M4s.
your own dumbass fault. I mean, you should have known better.
When you pop a fucking label of Monster Hunter, the movie,
oh my God.
yeah, but it's as Monster Hunter, just in a movie form.
As soon as what's the fucking main actress's name? Mia Jovovich. Yeah. As soon as I saw her, I was like, okay, cool. This is gonna be horrendously bad in the greatest way possible. So yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
she's like the B action movie queen.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Give me a Monster Hunter 2. I need that movie. Give that to me. But they are, so actually Netflix is working, either Netflix or Amazon, one of the two is working on a Metro movie. We're gonna hold these questions because these are a lot of questions. We got more shit to gotta get to. All right, we're gonna hold all this stuff until we get to the end. Summer Games done quick. It breaks their online record. They raised $3 million. Well, almost $3 million. It's 22.8 million for Doctors Without Borders within 7 days. And that's beating their previous online only streams. That's not their record for actual in-person events, but it's cool, man. Like, I'm happy. Like, that's great. Like, I love GDQ or Summer Games Done Quick. It's something I always tune into.
Oh yeah.
And I'm super excited for when it comes back. I actually want to attend one. I heard the event is really cool to go to. So, yeah, I'm happy. Good for them. Ghostwire got delayed until 2022. So Ghostwire Tokyo got delayed. This is a game that I think Bethesda is doing, if I'm not. Nope. No, it's not. It's Tango Gameworks. I thought it was a Bethesda game.
It's a Bethesda game though. It's
Is it Bethesda published?
Yeah, publisher.
It's published, but yeah.
Okay.
But that's a good thing. I think we finally gotten to a point as gamers where we're not going after the Cyberpunk incident. I think we're finally to the point where we're not going to strong arm companies to release an unfinished game.
Yes. So it could be particularly huge for Bethesda, which along with Ghostwire Tokyo, Tango Gameworks is owned by ZeniMax Media, and Bethesda is the publisher. It's also releasing Arcane's. Well, that's not them, but so yeah.
I'm a little pissed off about it though, because it is a PlayStation exclusive. So fuck them.
It'll come to fucking. It'll come to the other consoles.
Better.
It'll come to PC. For sure.
Microsoft
is not going to just sit there and be like, yeah, it's okay. Like, I promise you that. And then second to last thing is Super Mario 3 PC port was found in a museum. crazy thing is that this is not something new. This was actually something that id Software did way back when. And yeah, it was they let's see. It says that they did this. It was well known that id Software Commander Keen technology was originally designed to accommodate a PC port for for Super Mario Brothers 3, and in 2015 he actually revealed footage of the proof of concept. Nintendo didn't want to do it, but there's actually footage out there, and you can go look at it. This is cool. I mean, come on, Nintendo, uh, like give me the PC ports.
They're the one company I don't see
No, they'll never do it,
going
man. Holy
PC.
fuck.
They'll be the very last ones because
Yeah.
they have such a unique thing.
I
That's
don't
the
think they'll
reason
even
that
be the
their
last
games-
ones. I just don't think they'll ever do it.
Yeah, that's the reason their games hold value so much is because there is nothing like them out in the gaming marketplace. And as much as I hate that their games don't degrade in value so I can get them cheaper, it's warranted, and people will buy consoles specifically for Nintendo games.
Yep. All right. The big one.
Except for the OLED, because that console's a joke.
What is the OLED?
It's the upgraded Switch with an OLED screen and a few other quality of life things, but they didn't change any of like the
The
guts
Switch
of the
Pro?
Switch. It's not Switch Pro. It has no CPU upgrade. It has no GPU upgrade. It's just a prettier screen. The Joy Cons are a little bit less drifty, and it's a bit bigger.
So
That's
it's not a complete bag of shit. It's just a less bag of shit. I'm just kidding.
I mean, it's an OLED screen. The resolution stays the same, but OLED does show
Color's
color
better.
and
Yeah,
saturation a lot better than what the standard screen does.
All right. So this one, by the way, I'm very impressed on how quickly I'm being able to burn through these things. I just wanted to let you know how quickly we're able to get
I'm
through this
impressed
stuff.
with you too.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm not.
Fuck you. I don't care. So this is actually, I think, very big news. I think this is something that I don't think a lot of places are actually necessarily covering. But how many of you are familiar with net neutrality? Hopefully, all of you.
I know that we're safe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're not familiar with net neutrality is the basically going out and saying that companies like internet providers could not go in there and throttle your speeds based on what you were doing. So essentially, they could go in and be like, "Oh, you're watching, a lot of people watching Netflix. Let's fucking turn it down. Let's turn down your speeds on Netflix or whatever else. But you can pay to get a faster access, right? So essentially, making it so that the internet is true and free, right? Well, not free, but it's basically still an open kind of system. President Biden signed an executive order calling for the restoration of net neutrality and putting it back in place. It was taken down by the FCC chairman Ajit Pai. Basically went in 2018 to start dismantling the net neutrality rules and making it so that these companies could actually go in there and start to block or slow down or throttle in certain areas or certain online services, and have working for a previous internet provider. I can tell you that this is something that came up a lot, and it was something that was looked at pretty heavily, where they were going in and saying, hey, we noticed that people are streaming more of this, or if they're a competitor, like let's say AT&T, right? They own DirecTV. They did own DirecTV. They own all this stuff, right? Like, we have a streaming service. We're also an internet provider. We're just going to turn this down for fucking Comcast. But we're going to crank you all the way up for our internet, our TV server, streaming service or whatever. That was what net neutrality allowed or was stopping. Now it's back in place to basically stop that. So, this is a big thing, man. Like, people that don't follow, like, and this is the reason why you should follow this stuff that's going on, because like this is a big fucking deal. And it should not be allowed to basically allow companies to control it to that point. I don't know what your guys' thoughts.
Should. It would essentially allow companies to be able to piece and put together certain things for certain people and cater towards people as well.
Basically, you'd be paying for somebody else's.
Yeah, well, no, you would be paying more for if you were if you like streamed Netflix a lot, you would be paying more than if for this person that didn't pay for Netflix or didn't stream Netflix a lot, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about understand this, Comcast guys, Comcast owns fucking NBC, all of these other things. They are a massive media conglomerate. Guess what? They also own fucking internet. So like, if you have Comcast internet and they're like, you know what, we don't want you to be able to watch, it's Fox, right? They can just turn it the fuck off. Like, I mean, it's a big deal. Like, so that I'm happy.
Not only that, but also privacy situations for people that are on streaming server or streaming and internet coverage and such. Like if this completely goes down, any of your and like if you have like something that comes up, your internet provider can pretty much just give the federal government anything that they asked for on your streaming.
Yeah.
Or on your internet access.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
Yep. So I'm actually kudos on this. And I hope that they and Ajit Pai is a fucking idiot, man. He's a fucking moron anyway. So
is he restoring net neutrality, or is he restoring the?
It's an executive order. It's an executive order to restore net neutrality.
So it's not coming in anymore. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yep. So, I hope it comes back. All right, guys. So that's the news. That's everything. The only thing that we got to go over right now is questions. And at the end of every show, guys, we open this up to all of our viewers that are chatting with us live, and this is why you should definitely attend our live shows. We do them every other Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern, right here across all of our Twitch channels. But we opened it up to questions, and I believe we had a few that came in. I know one of the questions that I paused was about the movies thing with Netflix, and it came from Jen Pork Chapo over in Bill's channel. If you want to, he basically.
What do you guys think if Netflix did a Metro show or movie based more heavily off of the books?
Well, they are doing that. I don't know if it's Netflix or if it's Amazon, but they are. One of the companies is doing a Metro show. So
yeah, I think it'd be good after like a year of people complaining about the fact that they're trying to change main characters around for inclusivity.
I mean, I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with them doing these shows as long as they are well done. I don't even necessarily give a fuck if you're to take. So like we talked about Black Widow, right? And we talked about like Marvel's getting a massive hit to Taskmaster. I really don't give a fuck that they made Taskmaster the character. Okay. Spoiler. Let me pause for a second. There's spoilers if you've not watched Black Widow. They changed the gender of Taskmaster. I have an issue of how they did the character, period. Like, I don't care that it's female Taskmaster.
Technically, it's a separate universe from the comics. They have the liberty of doing it in that regard.
Yeah, I just have a problem with his, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say it his, but that's because that's how I know him as his Taskmaster is him. But the whole like plot behind why they are the way they are, like that's the problem I have with that. So anyway. I don't necessarily care if they want to change the main character from a fucking male to a female. I mean, I understand some points of it. Like, it gets a little fucking stupid doing things.
The reason why I have an issue with it is it's nothing to do with them wanting to do it out of the goodness of their heart. It's all pandering. It has nothing to do with them actually believing in what they're doing. It's all pandering and fucking trying to get brownie points. That's the reason why I had an issue with it with Netflix and The Witcher. They came out at one point and were like, we're doing this because we want to have more of a representation. And it's like, no, this is the way that the characters have been the entire time.
What happened in The Witcher that I don't know?
No, they tried changing Ciri into a what's called a what's the word that they used? A person of color, I think, is what they used it for, right? They were trying to. I think they tried to make Ciri into a black woman.
Oh,
right. and it doesn't fit in with the storyline. I don't have an issue with it necessarily, but the problem that I have with it is that that story and those characters have been around for years, and the only reason why you're trying to change it is because of pandering, right?
Yeah.
That's my big issue with it.
Yeah. I did look up the Metro thing to get us back to that, and it is a Russian media company that is taking on the project, set for a 2022 premiere.
Is it through
It's
Amazon?
It is
Russian.
going
It's
to
Russian,
it
it'll
is
be
going
fun.
to be a movie.
It's Netflix or is it Amazon? Or is it a full blown
Neither.
movie?
It's
Is it a full blown movie.
Gazprom Media.
We're not gonna see it over here. It'll be a
Nah.
yeah. We won't see
they-
it over here.
Central Partnership Film Studios.
I
which
could have
is,
sworn they were doing a net. I could have sworn Netflix was picking that up. Maybe it's something different that I'm thinking of then. But
It might be something different because the people in charge of the books have been asked by Netflix and Amazon to do a film, and they've said no to them. So they wanted to give somebody that was going to take the works and do it justice.
I mean, I guess
According to this interview.
I'm so used to fucking video game movies being so bad and video games based off of movies being so bad that like when when I get one that's like, oh, this is done well, like The Witcher or the Dota anime series, I'm like, oh, okay, you know what, I'm okay with this. Like, yeah, it's okay.
The author said in a statement that he finally has met a team that he can entrust with a Metro movie. Our ambitions turned out similar, to create a world-class blockbuster based on the trilogy.
Did you guys like the Doom movie?
Yeah, the thing was great.
Doom movie wasn't bad.
Dude, I loved
I
it when
really
they went
liked.
the first
I
person.
really liked
Rock.
when he got juiced up and they did that
The
first
first person
shooter
mode,
segment.
yes, dude. I was like, oh my god, this is how fucking movies need to be done from now on. Like everything needed to be first person. That was dope, dude. And he got the BFG. It was
Yeah.
great.
Oh, that was
yeah.
that was when The Rock was just barely on his human growth hormone.
Yeah, right.
spurt.
It was
He,
such a
he
good
wasn't the
movie.
size of a mountain. He was just the size of a hill.
You know,
a
I think
small
I'm
hill.
gonna go buy that movie and watch it tonight.
Do it, man.
It's so good.
Next question is from Sigma. And are you guys looking forward to Ashes of Creation at all?
I am. I started off very hyped about it, and I am not as hyped anymore after seeing like the alpha. But I am cautiously watching it. I guess that's a good thing to say. I don't think Enigma.
You want
Go ahead,
you want
Enigma.
to do yours before I do mine?
I've not had my eyes on it from the beginning. I don't have my eyes on it now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, not at all. Yeah, fuck that. No, it's gonna be terrible. Everybody's hyping it up because we have seen literally nothing on it. The stuff that we have seen looks like trash, in my opinion. The 4K, it's nice that they have the game in 4K, but the textures are so terrible that the 4K doesn't do anything for you. Like the characters look nice and the mobs look nice, but it's still a trash tier fucking MMO. Like the animations are terrible. They're blocky as shit. Granted, it's only beta right now. But
Alpha.
Like they're alpha. I'm sorry. Granted, it's only alpha, but it's like they're working in. I think they're working in Unreal 4, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll find out.
That sounds right.
I
Let's
think
take
it's
a look.
Unreal 4. And if it's Unreal 4, like this looks terrible for Unreal 4. But
Let's see. Unreal 4 is the graphical engine for Ashes of
Yep.
Creation.
That's what I thought. So they're working in Unreal 4, which is like the top of the line for gaming engines these days, right? Or at least right now. And when I look at it and when I actually look deeper into it, I'm just like, it doesn't look good. It just looks like a basic bitch MMO that you can get from anywhere else.
I don't know. I'm still gonna hold out hope. I'm not expecting it to be fucking end all be all, the greatest fucking thing of ever, right? But I'm still gonna hold out hope. I want Final Fantasy 14 aside, right? I want a new MMO that is fucking just brings me back to the days of WildStar, brings me back to the days of when I played, original World of Warcraft.
Gonna do that.
I'm not saying it's going to, but New World's definitely not gonna fucking do it. Like,
I think New World is closer to what you want than fucking Ashes of Creation is gonna be.
maybe, I don't know, man. I don't know. I
To me, the entire thing looks very underwhelming, and it seems to me like they're trying to overpromise and overhype, and it's not good. They're never going to attain the amount of hype and promise that they're putting out there.
I
It's going to be the MMO version of fucking Cyberpunk.
are any of you? Oof. Ouch. Okay.
I said it.
Are any of you guys gonna play New World when it comes out?
Pork Chop might. He had a decent time with it. He said as long as they nerf the hatchet, he'll give it another try.
I'm not touching that game with a 30-foot pole.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I can't. I
Amazon's gonna run that shit to the ground with fucking microtransactions. They've already came out and said that they were gonna do it.
Amazon has not had a successful game launch in forever. Period. Actually,
That's why whenever you guys talk about fucking
Lost
what's it
Ark,
called?
they're publishing it. They're not fucking developing
well,
it.
GameForge published this one and it's fucking failing too.
Yeah, well, GameForge is a shit company anyway. So
Shit. Well, I mean, Amazon hasn't been the greatest either.
I'm not gonna try it. I can't try it. I cannot. Nope. Anyway, all right, guys, that's it. Episode 39 is in the fucking bag, boys and girls.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoyed yourself. It was a great show.
You guys are waiting for episode 50. I'm waiting for episode 69.
Oh my god.
Giggity. Oh, right.
We're gonna do all that upside
Nice.
down. So,
Oh, yeah.
but
No, you got to be right set up. We'll be upside down.
there you go. Sure. Whatever. I don't mind. Anyway, again, thank you guys for all being here. Make sure if you are not able to catch the shows live, check us out on Spotify and or YouTube. Hit !! show in chat right now and be able to, or ! podcast in chat right now and be able to see all of that. We will be back in 2 weeks with hopefully a full crew. But until then, you guys stay sexy, have fun.
Bye.
Bye.
They're just